Good luck. So I'm going to try and play Dungeons and Dragons and you for the next 10 hours. This is my first time playing Dungeons and Dragons. I usually play Dungeons and Dragons at least 10 hours a week with no more than a dozen people, including myself. And I'm going to walk you through your first 20 levels in the Dungeons and Dragons character. For the past, if you run Dungeons and Dragons is actually a non-monotheistic cult that actually worships Roman demons. And you get to tell people really what to do out online. It's also a very slow paced game. Or not a lot really happens. I get used to just waiting to really speak. Dungeons and Dragons. You're going to need to create a character in your imagination. Your choices of abilities are whatever you want them to be, for races. You can choose between human, dwarf, elf, gnome, half-elf, half-orc, or halflings. Not really a strict DM, so no master. So I'll let you choose anything else you like. There's a lot of difference in other types of reading, such as poetry or reading a story. Writing is different. You can choose anything else, your choices of Asmon, Aboleth, Mage, Abomination. Actually, no, those aren't really choices. Well, if I agree, this is what it's like to sort of being talked at, and people are trying to force injury on you by talking at you, and they're saying that you do stuff. So I guess your character, I would just start by saying the base option of the game, or your base options are human, dwarf, elf, gnome, halfling, half-orc, or half-elf. And the base starting class options are barbarian, bard, cleric, druid, fighter, monk, paladin, ranger, rogue, and sorcerer and wizard. There are over 600 classes to choose from that say content, but why not just pick why are you spending so much time creating a character? I've seen people spend weeks creating a character. It's like, just get started, why make me a hero? Well, now you should have a good idea of what you look like in Dungeons and Dragons. You should have some sort of you can be male or female, stuff like that. And then make a character. Sit here and watch you make a character, see if you do it right. So I'm going to be walking through the world's largest dungeon. I'm going to be walking through the world's largest dungeon. Millennia ago, the Celestials built their dungeon. Within it, the Celestials erected mammoth walls, locks, doors, and traps. It lured all those who would enter, but also lured in those who would escape. It was a dungeon larger than any ever known. Within it, Celestials imprisoned hellish undead, demonic beasts, and fiendish monstrosities. It was a perfect construction. Before the first dwarf would ever be born at the Skull Stone, angels and Celestials carved a work of art that no one would ever see. Perfect in every detail. It would stand inviolate for thousands of years. And no can say why the gods ordered demons and witches to be entombed and not destroyed. And in time, the gods would true their merry. As the gods would true their merry. Therefore, it is our contention that lichen, dire rats, goblins, and dire lords make for an excellent food chain. Which like me at store-bought campaigns and making stuff sure does make me think about a lot of things, Dungeons and Dragons. Makes me think about voices and their effects. And makes me think about writings and text and acts and lines and illustrations and kind of how long you keep a state trance state imagining fantasy realms. So you don't know how, but you've been teleported to a bunch of snowy mountain tops. Right above you is the sun, and it doesn't look like where you are. There's a day-night cycle. There is no day-night cycle. The sun is directly above you, and the clouds move around it sideways, circling the sun like a vortex or a whirl. And when you look around the horizon, you see mountain tops in all directions, like a snowy mountain tops, and you're on the highest mountain right now. You're climbing the mountain. As you climb the mountain, rocks and breeze, the breeze slowly over extent. Numerous tracks of different creatures ascend the hillside. You slay all the creatures you encounter either by sword or some melee weapon, or a winged weapon like a bow or a crossbow, or you use magic to slay them. You see a man dead, the size of a galleon, a big medieval warship. I don't know if they still use that term galleon. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I've seen it used a lot in RTS games. The man is huge, right? The size of a galleon. He's already dead, and he's blocking, or no, not blocking, he's next to the entrance to a inside a giant gate. Giant gate. Or no, actually, it's just a protruding into a nest cave entrance, I have to say. And I am doing the worst job of playing Dungeons and Dragons game into the camera. So he searches for the giant dead man, and he doesn't really have anything on him. But his pockets are filled with a bunch of notes of weird, arcane, not even arcane, runic symbols, hard to describe the lines, thousands of pages and topics, like an entire library's worth of scribblings all in pockets. And it can't make any sense to write it, but if he's a giant man who's already dead and all he had on him was a bunch of scribblings in his pockets. And there's nothing value. This is actually more fun than I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to have a better time, but as it turns out, we seem to be enjoying ourselves. You enter into the tunnels, not afraid, but you may find level 1 now, but after seeing that young dead body, all of the adrenaline pumps are getting level up to level 2 of the standard in their class episodes. Whether you are male or female, human, elf, dwarf, halfling, gnome, or half-orc, half-elf. I would have let you choose anything from Los Angeles. So you could just monster out your office, so everything. So there's a single cave entrance, so you will be entering into the cave. Going to the tunnels, they wind deep down into the earth. You're going deep into the earth. You've been going through caves for a long time now. The cave is low and shallow, obviously dug by small, crude hands. New footprints marked the dirt and debris litters every corner in the back of the cave's narrow tunnel, poorly lit, leads deeper. You explore the tunnel more, and it leads deeper. The tunnel widens into a mountain. Its ceiling is some 6 feet high and 5 feet wide. At the widest, after about 100 more feet or so, the tunnel opens into a larger room, cut from stone and built rather than done. It's obvious that something lives here. Your eye left hand gates, and you open the gates and enter into a larger room with a swirling magma lava flow in the middle. That's what it looks like. It's fire, and your screeching noise is coming out of it. The lava flow is in the center of the room. A flow of molten rock meanders to the southeast, consuming all that touches bubbling up from the flaming rivers are occasionally pockets of swirling steam, shrieking, moaning, disrupting from the earth's flight. The flow in behind is bearable, and when you watch the floating bits of rock flare the flame, you can see multitude of small, in-flight creatures playing in the steam, tossing balls of flaming slag at the dancing clouds playing on the fiery river's surface. You walk by the magma flow. You might have noticed that that wasn't an ordinary magma flow. That was actually the tear into the elemental plane of fire. You advance 2 levels, are now level 4. Things are getting more serious now. You move into the next room. A thick layer of dust covers the floor as 2 toppled pencils and shattered fragments of a marble statue of an elf lie in the center of the room. As you watch, the marble head shifts slightly and its eyelids flutter open. It stares at you with startling blue eyes for a moment and then eye explodes again. This room contains the remains of the victim of an ancient trap. The trap is no longer active, and the only thing the elf can do is shift her face slightly. In the next room, an inch-thick layer of muck covers the floor of the room, and a dozen closed doors dot through the walls. Deeply charred rooms and unknown language lie in the center of each random door, and geometric mosaics of green, red, and yellow tiles fill the area between each door. The ceiling is covered in bronze discs, each 6 inches wide. The majority of the doors are false doors. The rooms and mosaics are those traps which release streams of acid from the ceiling and fire lightning bolts from the rooms. But these traps failed centuries ago. In the next room, the walls and ceiling of the room are featureless, but hundreds of metallic chain links lie scattered upon the ground, and almost anchors in segmented place yet the floor. The prisoner held within this room died centuries ago. All that is left are the chains which held him, corroded by his evil. Stores in the next room. Stores of motionless years, long chains and metallic lines fill this chamber, leaving barely enough room for a human to squeeze through it. Silver inscribed etchings and each mechanism crackle a feeble electrical charge, but the room conveys a sense of fluctuating power and intricate design. The room once maintained 7 magical fields, but the mechanism failed centuries ago and energy dispersed. All that is left is a resonant magical aura that makes creatures nervous and edgy. In the next room, thick cobwebs obscure vision beyond a few inches, but a harsher buzz echoes from the interior of the room. Tiny spiders scatter forward, door lights, and disappear into the mud's depth. The stench of rotting meat wafts through the close air of the chamber. The only thing within the room is a rotting corpse of human killed centuries ago. Its body constantly regenerates, damage at the same rate that decays and decaying perverts stasis. The body is home to thousands of flies, eels, and vermin. You may kill all the flies and vermin, or XP. You go up a level. You are now level 5. In the next room, the stench of death pervades the chamber. The air is thick, and a fine cloud of dust covers the stone floor. A painting depicting a large woman in elaborate pink robes hanging in the center of the wall. Under its large wooden coffin, its lid has been smashed open, and its wood has rotted. Closer, it reveals skeletal remains of a humanoid inside, buried with its clothes and sword. The human comes alive, or a skeleton animates and attacks you. You defend yourself against the undead, and slay or destroy the undead creature. Games like speed. You may put the painting and the sword and shield that the undead is using into inventory. The remains of those of the Orc who died ages ago, while it's not obvious what he died of, he was buried with his belongings, suggesting he was a man of importance. Triggers are looking for crazy unknown woman, though not a particularly high quality, as is ancient and best work over other gold. The Orc has a sword with natural quality, and requires the quality and charge. His popular work was burial, a few other items, including one minor magic item, not hunting. In the next room, this room is devoid of decoration, but its doors are framed by heavy stone structures, sculpted runes, and intriguing patterns. These intricate frames are beautifully crafted but otherwise ordinary. The runes are decorative and not in any language. An angel sculptor fashioned the beautiful door frames of this room, which has arc-on pillars when the vast ancient complex was created. A large stone desk dominates the otherwise empty room. An elaborate candle of tarnished silver sits on the window. And the two candles dimly illuminate vast reliefs on the walls representing the faces of demons, gargoyles, and other terrifying creatures. The carving is so well done and half off facing room. The bench reliefs in this room are fashioned by celestial buildings of dummy and art to otherwise dismal surroundings. They represent some of the most fearsome creatures legally imprisoned using vast complex as seen by angelic arts. This place is safe for rest for about 4 hours. You live your history for more than 4 hours will probably be attacked. You probably rest for more than 4 hours because you're looking. You had a random encounter, something was lost anymore, and you did. You next week, but you still have to speak with them up, even though already on the floor walking. You also never lose the lie you have about this evolution, which is good by losing what would happen. In the next one, the lie remains that a real purpose we came to know in this chamber. The only room devastated and lies known as the inside the kind of made from Dr. Ray's code. The same material has the knowledge of this already linked. The knowledge of locking by soup, and the next knowledge of the room is there. This room is serious and we all say the words, even the leadership of names that evil discuss. Today was including the security of the nation, evil service place, taking together. And the knowledge of the shop that we on that years, and wisdom of their weapons support us in the past, which are all of the three facts of making that happen. There is a ring around the reality of the table and second room, built in the full setting fact, this goes out of the world of forces, the room didn't quite as clean spot as it appeared. After shining an hour in the room, you become visible. As you walk out of the room, you become slow and the next year, the third time was serious for the 100% of the chambers, the buildings that have not been clean, and there's a setting for the building of surface in this room, a small
Hearing the point.
You should be getting perfect now. So if you have something that's not last week, you can say it's over trees here and there. It's very cool. Standing up to the benches and going out that nice and saying it's tranquil place for entering the bar. Otherwise, so we're just hanging people in that one room all the time. So to leave that tranquil room and stuff like you just hang out forever. To leave there, you continue with this horrible celestial ghost, millennium old dungeon. This is very kind of tense fog. They feel this is that's good.
First round.
There is a message room. The interior of this room is a charwood is surrounded by 60 human movie corpses. Another corpse lies on its side, partially leaning against the wall, opposite the door. All the bodies are in single sticks and head and heavy so there's nothing about it. It's true. The corpses are 6 rounds with a blocking range of being 47 dagger. The rest were taken off their own again. Unfortunately for goblins, the feather on watch fell asleep in the whole roof was killed by other pilots of the dungeon. We were having a really good time with each other. The whole group was calling. I've never come out with you before. And we'll have to make each reason we'll entertain each other and ourselves.
1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
In the next entry, the door to this room is locked. You can pick lock when you break down the door. You can go after the door and you can go to the right clip. All these police and move and the police who are using their target levels such that the show the time room is proven on the that was on every just better room. This is our level. And it's special shadow. The fact that we're really able to hold it here. The program is not words. All the same experiences. The level of the celestial care should be so high that the first time you come to the lessons of this report, it's celestial and it's celestial later. As our reckless, that's the past is noticed and not to the left. And on the top of the left. As I was saying, and this looks like a great idea. He said there is a pit. Thank you! There's nothing that spikes the apples. The one you see without a minute, except for a few seconds. And I wonder if he's loved or loved somehow. He didn't need it. Everyone on the floor! Someone was looking over the piece of the rock. So the buttons of their hands. Somehow, you make it save, like, you have the trap.
They're taking the objective! Let's knock them back! Quit standing around. Get on the board.
You try to disable the trap and you can't do it. And you succeed. The door is open and the water is filtered, and when you try to work on the you just out of my lawn.
This is just a trap my name. It's
This is read A of the dungeon. Longtail technique. Longtail is a weird sorcerer with mind, charisma, and great visions. Research showing that he is familiar. EG6. Longtail found out about the dungeon, its history, and original purpose. Through EG6, ability to commune with the infernal powers, he learned that there is a long-forgotten chapel close to the entryway to the dungeon and how to deep into the original space, where multiple people form a beast and attack. Let's break it! None of the expected elements of Pepper Crowns, Colds, Troglodytes, Orcs, and even an ogre rally to his side and reason the journey with that half-friend, half-fiend. Fueled by the promise of treasure and led by losing folk, God's Longtail's force made its way to the dungeon in short order. Entering the long-lost angels, the humans began exploring that area, searching for the famous fabled wealth. Longtail himself, who not atheists, led a small expedition into the forest regions. At first, humans were eager to explore their new home, reaching the absence of Longtail as a chance to gather as much treasure as possible while his friend was gone. But as the search party came back empty-handed, and with tales of abandoned rooms filled with nothing but traps. Trouble ensued. It had been Longtail's natural leadership that had built an unusual force together, and now the remaining humans were left to their own devices. Soon the natural rivalries of their human groups began to send themselves insults, and slights led to shouting and shoving. Suspicions of rumors that one group had found the treasure and was not sharing it with others led to bitter accusations. Inevitably, armed confrontations, isolated clashes took place, and Longtail's force was splintered into reptilians composed of kobolds and Hanshar masks, troglodytes, and lizard folk, banding together out of necessity against the numerous orcs and their ogre enforcer. The numbers were divided between the two sides, and each side searched looking for treasure that they would never find. And as their own searches became fruitless, each side became convinced that the other side had found something. Sorry, they waited all the battles as the two factions stared down and they replied to frustrations. Search will flopped across the light and breadth of the air. In short time, they forgot about the searching for treasure and were concerned only with wiping out their enemies. During this time, the quest of Longtail was ignored by the humans. Neither side cared any longer and had brought them to the dungeon originally. Some even forgot about their half-friend, half-fiend. They would soon be reminded. But even as the heroes fought amongst themselves, Longtail led his expedition to the forgotten chapel. There, with his familiar patience, he moved into the gateway, only his next time becoming what he knew he was destined to be. And you only have knowledge of everything I just said. If you're a cleric or wizard, swag, to see knowledge, just things you know, or if you're a bard and have art knowledge, we can use you probably just the same, all this information out for no reason, or maybe even know any of this going into it. But things did not turn out at the time. While Longtail could control some of these, he could not control all of them, and soon the extra power beast, driven on by hatred, rushed through the dungeon. Falling and fighting humanoids of abuse, struck a hammer blow to fill the dungeon for blood and soon the Longtail's erstwhile allies, and even as Longtail tried desperately to gain atheists and infernal powers to smile, you have random encounters, and there is a razor wire across the hallway. All these random encounters and set with razor wire help out the sharpness of the razor wire. You have to keep on stepping over, makes you feel edgy, and if you watch your step more and all random encounters, you get around here. The razor wire, you level at this one, you are now level 7. You are an ass. You are more capable than a lot of things. A lot of things don't get to level 7. You need to feel good about yourself. And I'm not going to be so easy on you this whole time. Letting you just have successes until level 7. I'm going to be a lot more difficult because at the end I'm going to actually try and kill the characters. And you have to use your intelligence to survive. You have to actually think about your actions and not just go around slaying everything, tapping it, or trying to calm you down. You approach the entrance. You exit the dark and dank narrow passage straight and emerge onto a work stone floor. Looking about you see that you have entered a large square chamber hewn completely from stone. You notice 2 stone doors, one to your side and another in front of you. This is your last chance to rest. Once you cross the threshold, you're just moving left open, and if you really need to rest, rest now. I mean it. Reflect before entering the dungeon. You arrive at the chamber. Nothing else enters. In the second, the doors reveal that they are absolutely featureless. The board of any markings symbols are even any sign of use. You can open either to notice by simply placing your hand on it, and pushing the door gently glides inward and remains open. Once you cross the threshold, the door slams shut. You'll already go forward now, there is no turn back. As you push the door, the edge disappears into the blackness that lies just beyond. You allow the door to open completely and watch as more and more of it swallowed up in the barrier until only its hinges are visible. Peering cautiously into the darkness for signs of movement, you see nothing. Even your ears can only detect the breathing of your fellow adventurers. Or just by yourself. Completely alone in isolation. Going through this large, mad dungeon. The dark space reveals nothing but lies beyond. The doorway circumscribes an area that is currently warded by a quick magical field. This field prevents all vision, including dark vision and low light vision, as well as all sound from passing through from one side to the other in either direction. In addition, the magical field has an unusual and permanent force effect that allows creatures and items to enter the dungeon without difficulty that absolutely prevents them from leaving. If you enter into this room, the markings of the floor show that you are but clearly inside an orc stronghold. A former orc stronghold. Within this region, the orcs choose the section the closest to the entrance for defensive reasons and launch all their search expeditions from here. Unfortunately, while this portion of the dungeon is defensively strong, the same qualities limit the ability of orcs to explore other parts of the dungeon. As a conflict with Archelians estimated, the Orcs leader, an Orc barbarian named Orthar, decided that it was time to force a decision. Marshalling the Orcs, he led in an all-or-nothing assault on Archelians throughout the dungeon. As a result, the section has been abandoned by the Orcs since that time. Although the plan to return and establish garrison to guard the entrance once they were victorious, this has not come to pass. While the unexpected release of extra penalties and subsequent dissemination and fragmentation of riders mainly the Orc, but also their Archelians. The section is wide open to human survivors that can get this far. It looks like all the Orcs might already be dead, like you. I thought you were about to have to fight your entire Orc stronghold. Your porch light blames evenly in this complete gloom, lighting out a small region of what appears to be a large room. 2 iron doors, one shared activity, and other to its side are the only things that break out the unending mass of the Orc's stone. The chill and dark air clings to your body, and you are not only feeling and judging by the cough coming out of the darkness. You're a cough. 3 Orc warriors, just like they're not all dead. They sit huddled together in the northeast corner of the room, one of them trying to stifle another's cough. There are sorry remnants of the Orc forces that fall long tails of the dungeon. They look extremely haggard, with deep bags over their scar-marked faces and ashen countenance, warning of their weakened state. The Orcs were trying to hide from you, but you rush in to slay them for XP. You know, you need to slay a lot more Orcs if you want to get to level 8.
Traveling to Icon. Prepare to attack.
Before you overdo it, you know that something is amiss. And as you go, it's not as overwhelming. The source is more than a score of bodies piled up and ripped, their flesh rotting away. These bodies are trophies found back by the Orcs from their conflict with Archelians. There are a total of 23 bodies here, 17 kobolds, and 6 troglodytes in varying states of decay, all of which have been stripped of anything they might have been carrying in life. Examination of the bodies shows that their wounds have been caused by sharp-edged weapons. The smell of decay is strong enough to require a DC 1542 save, where every living creature enters the room. Against it causes the creature to become sitting amongst 2 penalty attack rolls, weapon angels, saving throws, skill checks, and ability checks, for the duration of their stay in the room as well as for 1 equal rounds thereafter, and living creatures having 1 single round room also take protection. The board doesn't just back with their hands. Please don't find the creature has places with half birds, shooting flames and punching birds.
Hello there. Hello.
Using trap.
Hello there.
Orcs are rude. Orcs are out of control. Orcs in trouble. Amongst themselves, they're fighting races.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Let's hope
I am claiming the objective. Party on the objective. Move
I'm securing the objective.
Escort the payload.
I'm moving the payload.
You see what they know looking at the bottom of the book. It's all stretched towards the door. You have just lines soft near the middle of his room. Behind his ear, it's the checker who plays the mouth of the corners. The Lord of the Corners that looks around the
My plane is ready to be unleashed.
She naturally has up here, they will have to keep out of the housing. His strength man has just before he got the door. Sitting behind several holes, of course. Net body blood, where it finished strength. He has the seal. He falls and has a big smile. Nothing to zero. This is thank you. Nothing is for that. And he in the next room, there's a wall with a hook hanging off the ceiling, and you have to use your arms and swing on hook to hook to get across the room. Instead of the floor, use your arms to swing around. Just use your switches fly at you and it attacks you while trying to cross the room and have to hang out at blessing. You can spells or use a bow or crossbow or wave a bow at you, but you can switch things for it carefully examining sandwiches. Came through the open door, we found out this room is a disaster area. Some kind of host of animal waste, every day, there's here's a photo, pictures of and other trash covered full. This is one of the really cool studios of people players. The 200 players that really belong on top of the photo, that match the together, and then shoot the pieces out and has one of the pieces of the design. This one is formed of really wick, with a phase of sulfur, as does much described in burnt mountains that these creatures normally inhabit. And hopefully an odor greets you before you step through the open door. The smell combined with the trash covered floor makes it clear that the rodents have obstruction when through this area as well. Shooting is not right attack. They are hostile. You say that you can find rats, don't you see? The thing that rats are good. You do it with smart. The door to this room is open. Fourth quarters. The trash that lays in the hallway and the door indicate that there is probably whistle to be found in this room. Once you enter, you see the remnants of a bed are still evident in one corner of this room, but everything else has been firmly destroyed. This is the room with two or barbarians and actual looking bed now one of the pair that sandwich from room you. Unfortunately, the entire rats one has torn the face to bits, but that is not more than 5 or 4 legs. Certainly, if you notice a small tin box lying on the bed, the box is 6 inches long, 3 inches wide, and 2 inches high. It has a clasp that is held closed by a piece of metal edge or ring. The box is not trapped, so if otherwise locked, open it reveals the design with black silk and has 3 indentations to hold miles. Although there are 2 miles in box 1 that is written as contents have settled into silk. There is currently only 1 intact nine box. There's a picture of 2 dollar beans, so if you take any damage, you can hit.
Now entering the
Trash is standing on the floor of the room, having by their cell already. You are cleared by Phoenix 5 presents. Clean the ceiling. You swing
prepare your defenses.
and gain some speed.
Select your hero.
And so this room are open. The southern hallway. Ignore and see exit this room, and open door directly across you, even as you notice that it appears to be empty. This room is empty, save some dust, pain, debris. However, it isn't anyway. The moment that enters your room, roll listening subjects. Encounter, finish series, clean the scene. You select more series, and gain more XP. Both doors in this room are open, middle hallway. This room looks much like the last room, with both doors open and nothing to be seen. This room is completely empty, assuming that neither side has been stopped in another, and can make a single listening subject. Listen carefully, or drafty echoes. Northern hallway room. All 3 doors in this room are open. This room appears to be empty, but the 3 door is leading in a different direction, while the previous 2 room is empty. You come across 6 towers, a horse, and climbs water, table home. You are without gate, and temple. That's not just around you, but you're feeling much defeat and temple, and actually, you are now level 9. Not only are you surrounded on all sides by horse, but also serious, and open. There, bring out the scene. I'm not attacking one step, but you came over to some moves, and then you just heard 3 burglars, and came out unsaved.
16-bit hero!
Hey there.
People with lines through the whole off messages. Stools and reading stand.
Attack
All over the place along with the positions and focus that made this at home. The goal isn't studying this room surprise the room by way of the Phoenix icons that roll through there. All they put going together defense and with late. Bringing out 5 times actually getting up there. There should be some morsels to be found among the 7 or 12 couple of horses. They are rather educated in fact away from the head of the Phoenix cat swords and the room 8.4. There's a bunch of stacking movies in this room. More game tyrants. You're saying more game tyrants. We ran like the size of dolphins. Cold, she's living area. The door first room is open. The small blood in this room is close to overwhelming. Cold that worked out along with almost the corner of all creatures. Last year, the room, a couple of large human bodies can identify around the corners. A small sea of brown blood across the floor. This is organs. The whole G. Tourists and the team. And I'm watching the movie for the creatures that was around. There's orders and keeping shot. And I'm watching the females that have been able to see the small set.
Time to read like a piano! Shields up! Shields up! Being it up!
Teleporter
No power down. Get in there.
Get on here.
Really good empty and are completely nondescript. This is deceiving as the things are capable of doing major comedic effects.
I'm not a good person.
This is time. You are attacked by ghosts.
Hi.
You need to either be unlocked, or have ghosts touch on your weapons, or have anything to keep them. Somehow, you keep ghosts in your escape. You are all tangled still. There's a silence. The word is real.
Almost ready.
Qualify existing as root.
My youngest dog. My youngest dog. The point against the
I've got you in my sights.
Young to die. My ultimate ability is ready. They're taking the objective. Focus our defenses.
objective lost. New defense.
Build them up, break them down.
With the map at one spin. Several of them always out of the room, but they were obviously little used to the force inside their floor. Several bodies of reddish leathery octopus-like features are scattered about, one still attached to Mook's head. The images of Pillar are beyond recognition. That face is
Defeat.
Two more forces lie in the actors along their room. Obviously, the victims of octopus-like features are real at my empty. These orcs, of course, repeat history, looking at dark and capital killing effects. Except for the two more forces, the room is empty. The orcs are still there in their armor, their allies, and my undersides. Several fellows will take away from one of the forces to fortify the room. Places like one of the flying out of the action pen. You'll pack four octopuses. You don't. One small octopus is there on their server dagger. We're at 34 pieces. The other, the winter, in battles. The wolf corpse lies in the hallway just before the door. Another victim of finished shot rifles. We attempt to open the door. Pushing against the door, he senses the distance. When you push with the art, the door moves slightly before moving backward towards you as if something springs back from the other side. Is that in green word? The door is being held closed by Kurtbag, and Orc managed to survive the finished shot rifles while seeking refuge in this room. He was this fellow Orc has been killed right outside the door. He's barricading the door by jamming the post of the pulpal spear into the bottom and holding on for dear life. You can force open the door. You overpowered Turlock and force open the door. His door is open through retreats to the northwestern corner. The rest of his allies surprise like a threatening spouse even though he's shaking fear. You use your ability to sex language to reveal that Orc is clearly no room for conflict. You attack Turlock. He goes down fighting. You gain XP. Casualties. The doors are being open. Most of there's more bodies lying in various places of the room, along with an equal number of flying octopus creatures. Several chairs and tables are also present under a staffing area that. One seems to have control of all the rooms presently empty except for the bodies. However, once the people have been invading the room for 2 rounds, the Phoenix ransom will introduce all that you need to this room from the side of the door and heads into the room in search for a friend. You did not spend 2 rounds in the room, you simply look inside and leave. Away against the hallway, one of the beasts going still armed. You attack by Phoenix transform. You slip Phoenix transform. Silent on all that. Ambulance. The whole rooms north of the room just in the west of the room before that. The home device. You remember that automatic signal. They can almost see or attack weapon after 7/3 skill ability test. The entire time you are within the area from the strong concentration of problem much that pertains to air attack and Phoenix shot rifle attack. In addition, you must succeed at using visual 40 every round. Once you fail, you are nauseated, only with attacking cast spells. And in order to require it, you are holding central nauseation on smell. If you do there, you are no longer nauseated. Open room. A trundle light lies on the floor. Strangulation, head, and common features. Next to him lies a flying octopus creature responding to a part. If they travel like as much trees that run down this route, when the future travels to the area, his partners manage to retreat to another route and one complex there, and not so casing you. The doors to this room are open. Volumes of future lights line on the floor, obviously suffocating to death. These firelights let their face as future travels swept the area. The future travels no longer got and pushed on to the left end of the maze. Currently, the face provision were following the future travels for this, the opportunity to take advantage of the situation and reinforce the ground. Distracting noises. The attack by finishes provision future travels for anyone coming on the scene. You slay them. Gaining speed. All the players are just hungry to have success. They let them lead to others.
I grow tired of waiting.
You enter the torture chamber. The door to the room is tight. Pulling the door opens a sliding blank so that you don't need to move. The legs swing out at any moment, standing close to the door. The other person opens the door. Each leg swings just right out of every moment to the door. A heavy vaulting at outside edge of the door pushed down to keep the leg with fixed. The crowd is accepting doors closed. This room serves as a prison and torture chamber. Hundreds of youths get back at her for open tombs. The 9-foot slaves are brought into this room. The secret door and once the secret door closed, showing that everyone out and escape the door. Ambush. All 4 members of the doors stand out open. You are assaulted. You are assaulted by progress. Thank you. You are ambushed by a progress. You slay all progress. You are the door is really as a closing center for open. So by a division will react to the movie. Before your arrival, there was one outline station in the door, there being the whole new network. There are 4 secret layers here. And the ability to private area division matter card. There are no other non-trial lights in the room. You are attacked by 7 non-trial lights. 2 of them are you in your kingdom. You slay all the trial lights, gain 4 XP. One of them is no. And yeah, those are trial lights increase. We will not check DC theory. It's difficult to back the and if you're still open lock, you're able to open the lock with the secret standard door. The door is not the door cannot be attacked. You unlock the door with a skill. You can pick a lock. A skill will not be falls into passive time. Since the body falls on your business room next to soldiers, moves man to another, unable to eat after the vicious side of death. A purple drizzle lies next to the secret door between the path. Secret door can be a slowly slowly locked inside the open doorway. The door is clear. Now, the key is still to check the door and check the door. The door will not be exchange therapy. The line from the door to the door. The hidden lock on that certain lock is located just inside the door and requires the door to be pushed for the slowly open access. The lock is just inside the door. The door closed. Reset the path. So the light is coming out of the door and cases. It must have had a back open the room. There are 2 other door process here, 60 meter. That's one that will bring my hospitals. Now this is the one that will the LMS all over the store.
Time to raise my APM.
The car, the car will be using acres and the will be seriously false. There is about the workshop all of them are broken apart and for repair. Currently 60 series. You are connected 60 series. 60 workshop. The door is secured from outside. That makes it closed. There are 11 workshops in the workshop. The door is removed and secured from outside. The door is used in the water and has the door at 50 miles per hour. Once the answer is ready for something, it will be first. You kill that.
Game on!
So the builders are talking about whom I will be exploding other through library. No one wants from the inclusions. And once you get a strength check for the 5 of the door, so the problem can make almost weak. Sport marks on walls and down furniture, goes to all the places and shops. You're there to make out the pieces of the table while you're in school, otherwise the strike is complete. This was an addict that was destroying our family experience involving fire application, and entire addict was working with vaporized levels not at its hand. And had formed speaker in such stages with human off and no effects, and those that have performed all the same checks. All of the debris is scorched in some manner, and the entire place still smells of smoke that burned years ago. The rooms are sitting in the corner, the clear is the room will have all that effect.
Now show them.
Before the dude mentioned anything to look at it, the main is shooting this through trash. Before this is inside, it's almost total circuit. And the box in here is circuit easy. This is that easy from box circuit. Lines are short, so it looks almost unlike that stage. This is also for sort. That has a hair. GC prefers to enhance the chance when the research is deleted. Total follow.
Can't keep up.
Total follow. Generally, all right, the last thing is straight back for the first part of the force line. So there's a matter that's reached point, so we have to be moving quick. Even though the last side of the lines are controls and force spin outside the lines, but the other extra piece starts falling there, moving the traps and nesting pieces. Total priorities. Wow. The other ones are there. 2 levels are 3 balls on this room, and it's the game by electric schools. Outside. The area guard was all stopped right there. The guards were tasked with guarding that approach and anything from the maze. Breaking through all the places and moving put that on the other. The ones that are on here are resolved here. Currently are 3 shot race. From the there, looking at the wall. Each lane from 3 shot race. And it's what is here. I don't know. Remember the people who told about the one who know about all other spheres. So there's the reason saying, look at slash human power, place along with probably push positions and purpose to make this a help. Probably the worst thing is when Japan will run away. Even though that will feel there. All the people who defense and then it was like, coming out of the county, so you know, the focus was to example example of the approaches. They are already there's a bunch of shiny noises in this room. Morphine shadows. You see the morphine shadows.
Time to replay the end. All systems game on. Get through 다시 한 판 해보자고.
This release has two points of control of release. This compromise that DC called real estate.
Time to
Hold up
Score 1-1.
The composition values are different. Anything that we have to launch has available.
Now show them.
The second visions, also. Even value. This is the whole way good. The number of all these different features can involve 60 different complexes of low events. Even second life. Skeletons.
Maybe you'll still get your chance. Who knows what the future holds?
Be sure to stretch before engaging in rigorous physical activity.
This room was served as an informed for Negroes. What country was and was renewed apparently 3 English documents are relaxed here. That hand was seen, but gorgeous like I say. Anyone who looks like seeing what they really packed, you see? Yeah, actually, getting closer to level 11. However, upper the table isn't really having any system. This room serves as a home of our cabin, and any function for clear all around you was somehow. The tables are long and has in their hand, sacred floor, art, and shows a bigger prints on the journal wall.
Enemy.
The first thing is to one day and all the way to almost as fully heavier for such things and all of that area. Comes to see me just everyone I can do the craft, but it offers the water. And the people saying the water and the office was just nearly works of all the ceiling, that it was that area as a unit foundation. Moving to the next system here. Then it has to say that was not something that was a handful of refugees all the time in the area that they can stand. One thing again, the mission very big and very good for us. And you can rely on language. We're going to show everyone here moving back in time. Each very possible.
Back in the game.
Their construction, these forms also managed to take advantage of members narrative. Although they were inked that long ago, they often be placed to be true and writer as they cannot complete perfection to the degree, and that that's the diversity so strong This is what's over fragments of minor importance, so greater slowly quality of the as to these together, on which we should no longer not answer. Here's a item of your black function, especially seated military engineer with that language of the entire day last on this property short, up and how to go about doing so. If he says not able, then should correct the products as a whole. You can pass the glass characters, beginning from theirs. These four parts. You are paying the size of my goals, and they are live by working. Really slowly cheating at you, you haven't tried to live. Sometimes you feel who theirs. Taking our goals with. Trying weeks. Here's next. Take me. Not peace. Actually, I'll find someone later, like it. You have every hope, so if we don't have it. You have your work. You work for the community. There's a actual awareness has been also no flying around the world. You're obviously that there is no open hole and working hard. You're on the road and you're from the first categories that my life will track. The consequence are things come from left field in this 2009. See it here. There's a culture. Always think it doesn't matter how always you can play out weeks and walks. There's a feedback what you say.
I've got you in my sights. Tranquility.
I'm not a good loser.
Game XP, 4 cars. The door to this room is open 2 more seconds. Through the keeping the doorway of this room, keeping light out of hallways and the and steer door to the rest. With this door in the hallway, door directly below the doorway are closed. The longer room empty except the fourth alley, although they try to hide it, and they're obviously wounded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 2, 8, 9, 4, 7, battle hardened, locked at level 1. Cool. Almost level 11. It's not easy tonight to have these works, so RG. With a deadly berserker. But in the end, you can hide on top and kill all many orcs. Finally, getting to level 11. Overpowered, solitude. The door to this room is open. A massively built torch is constantly on the floor, staring into space. The corner of the room safely out of his reach is a flying battle axe. He does not miss the approach. This is all and the giant bullets that followed all hill to this dungeon. Having watched the revive virtually all times in Diana were hands, or by hands by armies, this causes mind to hurt. No longer thinks for anything. He spends his time in room watching, driving, verbally, games, horrors, and insects, and dying at any moment. You feel more hard than you will stop him. He accepts that. And he was being of such great magnitude that he instantly leveled up to level 1. You are now level 12 of your chosen class. You started imitating or speaking. You're not there right now.
Last time played, you defeated the Overtime or something like that, Overtime. And you got the long game set in Manual. Now, you seem to have to find your way through the next part of the dungeon, which looks like it's going to be a Northern Empire. The side after I have a whole line of level 11, or 12. So we level 11 and level 12, very well. The Northern Empire. Designed and built like other visuals in this dungeon. We can know as the world where celestials saw the prisoners for the research of the nature of evil and understand how best to keep it in check. So, the place you're entering is a laboratory where you get when the celestials built to the part of the complex. It is a laboratory, a culture laboratory where angels torture demons to try to understand why demons are evil. Not only the celestials are on and deity design beings that in turn designed this complex for the purpose of torturing demons and beings and abyssal and creatures to try and understand what makes them evil. While many of the local creators are also found on this planet, the local original theology of good things are less than local. Anything that aims to one life would not have a harmless experience in the game. Like many services of this region, is linked to roots of always and remain unchanged over the centuries, and even following that chaos in the first earthquake. The inhabitants fled with wizards of some confidence remained in multiversity on the region not changed as drastically as others had. It did not escape unscathed. The air is dry and dusty and moving, not unlike in the toe. You're walking through these claustrophobic hallways, you're finding echoes and moans everywhere. There's a massive supply of water that's reformers that invade their intervals. It is once impossible and underrated. Now from the 3 level races as well as various one piece. And you have more to worry about than your trash and stupid images and unexplainable visions. The inhabitants here are added specials, national trash to prove that they can trash of their own. Triple R, second waves, and hit trash make navigating this region difficult for lower level people. You have to be from level 11 build, not your honest. Highly drawing. Before the news visitors arrived at the dungeon, it came that just higher to it. Celestials guarded against potential escape from demons inside, and angels stood vigilant against potential escape from demons inside. The video against all manner of demons inside within. Cultic earthquake, all that changed. When the majority of rooms were empty and the demons inside remained, so no longer had any hope of escape. The region was abandoned. Many celestials lost their lives on the right side of the centuries that followed, and the city of the seal, the region was made. And while angels looked away, creatures underneath it, and the region moved away home were orders to combat justice. Goblins arrived in that, getting through their hallways in the time, following from the era, and vast, however, the most stretches of the dungeon had only been plain, and the creatures were quickly pushed out. As the years went by, more and more goblins arrived, and migrations region became easier. Once they arrived, transformed quickly, and goblins skirmished with bugbears and bugbears, war with the hobgoblins, and then returned to their way of life and fights. The retake became common, and goblins trying to maintain these hundreds of years of warfare, the led to goblins straight over for all eternity. No angel force ever stayed in power for more than a generation, as the goblin was absorbed like 8 years, and the condition of the region is in a state of flux. No matter what the goblin king says, for centuries, the bugbears have fought a truth, how to war against the goblins and hobgoblins, never allied with either, and only seeking to wrath and other races from the region. Their strength and curiosity easily dominated the goblins in battle, and forced the hobgoblins into their blood forward region. They learned to use the trench of this celestial so that when they landed, often learned the lesson from the goblins that only the sheer number of goblins attacked and put by the hobgoblins prevented the bugbears from totally dominating the region, and the soul goblin remains. The hobgoblins turned their souls to goblins in the region, trying to maintain a strict control over the region. Their tactics and strategies are sound, but their numbers diminished. They are mermaids with playing with a scant portion of the region. Once they ruled the northeastern portion of the dungeon, the dungeon was cut short by an earthquake. The damage done to their region was staggering, and the rest escaped as a result. They were forced back towards the center of the dungeon while they had retracted from goblins and bugbears ever since. The goblins led by the king switched. In recent years, all of our followers noticed numerous races in the region. Their sheer number has allowed them to hold their ground against the bugbears for centuries. Surprisingly, they had fewer overclasses with the goblins. The bugbears were a large enough threat, and the soldier continued. The hobgoblins often often noticed over the years the stalemate has emerged, and uneasy status quo has evolved. None reaches our content out of our right. Using a full-time known before arrived to the ultimate landscape of green quarters in the region. It is clear the goblins that carry a new god has arrived. The statue of the goblin lies east is nothing less than Mount Sorrow. The goblins at last have a chance to smite their oppressors. Certain reasons have escaped, like the land of God, Sunshaker, the crystal king, sniper foes, the goblins splinter, and even within their goblin king power is unable to multiply for crime. According to their own mental culture, the goblins have approached their great power, who represents the power and terror causing to inject the upon the enemies. Upon hearing news of this new the goblin king became enraged, as his king became entrenched with the concept of goblin power. He sensed his power and influence the attempted enemies to destiny embracing religion. Against the new god of his knowledge, bruised up and imprisoned in his accuracy. 60 stars of the goblin king lay in the charismatic advisor known as Atlas, assumed the throne. Proclaiming himself king and the messenger of God in one fell swoop, he reminded the people of the religion, one that could be used to create whatever laws he chose, though it would will them to God. And while no one had noticed, the new king systematically changed the entire goblin culture in a few weak strokes, bending them in the direction of universal deals. The new goblin king was the soul, and is a doppelganger. He wandered through this region less than a decade ago and used by goblins, while in the highest form of his dreams in his mind, made doppelgangers stand out. Soon he can advise the king, and not continue to become more projected up to be despite his dreams, physical body, he cannot see open that one side proof of his deity, how it seems. In truth, the creature was the way when hunters returned to stone by sacrifice. You won't see frightening about the creature, the goblin eyes of God and raised his arms over his head and meteor to protect himself. It was in this pose that he was most unfortunately picked up by one populace. Goblins that followed, misinterpreting the sound, goblins' beautiful expression will predict the moon, and powerful goblin armies looking out at them in a favor and devotion. How could they explain this awkward statue? And the victor goblins told new goblin king excitable. Emoji have broken a lot and formed a resistance movement. They continue to follow their own religion, and decide for a new king or a certain throne. They're not alone in their opposition to the regime. The lovers found themselves on the receiving end of ferocious attacks of the should be soon after Atlas claimed the throne. The new goblin king has struck attacks on the hobgoblins that remain, and now they serve goblin king as instructors by his own forces, using wars and boundaries as mass. They created fast attacking assault from goblins could even conceive of the threat. New allies and tactics and rebellion goblins have been met with bugbears, asserting their control of the military region. None goblins at Atlas fight a two-part war for the first time in their history. None goblins will stop on bugbears and more. Their ransom took away, and Atlas' empire did of it, using every bit of Turkey at their disposal. For all their divine valor, those goblins at Atlas are firmly in control of the region, dominated by iron fists of the goblin empire will not and cannot be oppressed. What else? The region isn't all goblins and religions. In addition to the goblins, another beast called this region home. Dire wolves, even dead, and so many tracks of goblins can't be safe. More than a few people marauders were trapped in this region around the time of earthquake. For most parts, they make their home, and the northeastern section of the dungeon was they brought in by the celestials at Kirkdale that had the activities of the goblins until they simply here these after the earthquake. This region is home to a number of moon gods. Then we found that the dungeon, except for the domain of the goblin king. Here they are hunters written in the mountains. The moon gods are mainly found in the northern and northeastern section of the dungeon. Most secret dungeons of the dungeon kings meant a death pattern. How it came to be trapped in this region is unknown. Shortly after Atlas rose to power, it arrived and he immediately charged his hobgoblin taskmasters with capturing Nick and turning into his crystal knights. Most of the traps was unseen and inhabitants of many. Some people puzzles that unreal soul were successful celestial hands, and in fact, enough Atlas has ordered more traps to make to the king. Honestly, somewhere in the dungeon, a half of nature searches for powerful artifacts that has slipped through the goblins' grasp. The halfling. Found throughout the region that halfling measuring the body of our life. It is very likely you will encounter them long before they find what you're looking for. Arguably, the long predominant majority of people have any subject has any body, while half of them is found he is by no means stationary. There are chances of encountering cat anywhere in the dungeon. How half dimension dungeon is unknown. He is in the lead with the goblin king and searches for mysterious artifacts of legendary power. While the goblins know that Atlas, they don't know much. Any captain lead information will capture knowledge of the half within the intimidation system. The key is attacked, otherwise they have to leave alone. You know, that's a lot of backstory that you have no reason to do what I know, but it doesn't make any for me. Turkeys.
Well, I don't really remember where we left off, so I'm just gonna pick up somewhere. It's already kind of late, so I'm gonna try to keep my voice down and talk softly. Oh, the camera, the microphone picks it up. This hidden room is in good repair. Simple desk and chair, and a large oak bookcase on the furnishings. The desk is empty, but a number of small bottles are scattered over the shelves of the bookcase. A sliver of light spills out into the hallway from a crack in the wall. Soft grunting sounds can be heard from behind the wall. A sliver of yellow light spills out into the hallway from a crack in the wall. Grunting sounds can be heard from behind it. An oddly shaped room opens. In the middle of the room, set into the northern wall, is a stone door. The room contains no furnishings other than a stack of 4 strong boxes, one on top of the other. Whatever the sound was coming from is gone for now. The door leading to this room is locked. You use your open lock skill to open it. This is a simply furnished room with a small cot and table. A tattered pillow and a blanket rests on the top, and a book, read more, and noted on the table is a shiny gold ring and a hefty book. There is a straight direwolf. You hear a low, deep growl as you approach an open chamber ahead. A wandering direwolf stalks the hallways and hackles, raised. It snarls at you, bearing its fangs menacingly towards darkness ahead. Towards the back of this larger room is a circular well. The well is placed in the into a 10-square fountain. The principal difference is that the well has no discernible water. In front of the well is a small sack with gems spilling out of it. When the room starts filling with water, you get the gems and escape the room. This rest of the room is furnished with hides and skulls, trophies, and more. Prosperous time for the bugbears. The walls are rough and covered in crude ruins and hairline cracks. The floor is setting badly, and the straps of bone litter. In the middle of the room is a squat white table with a large map placed on it. Around the room are 4 bugbears. The largest snarls at you and reaches for his club. You fight the bugbears, all 4 of them, and kill them 4 XP. You're at level 12 right now. You're getting close to level 13. If you're not level 13 already, and once you're level 14, you're something to be proud of. Right now, you're not something to be proud of, even though you are still badass. Did I mention you selected 4 bugbears? The secret door leading to this has not been found in centuries. It is completely flush with the stone. But even as you know that it's there, you have to pry it open. This room is cramped due to a large pedestal that takes up the center of the room. The top of the pedestal is covered in black velvet, and the slowly separate velvet is a single flat black stone. Oddly, there is no desk in the room. Trying to get through the world's largest dungeon, breathing is think a lot. It just seems like such a collage of unfunctioning descriptions, and it's very difficult to make this into a sensible piece in your mind. It is featured in Guinness Book of World Records. It has a last fake on the cover. Actually, buy a brand new copy would be around $200, which you could buy a PS3 or an Xbox 360 gold at times. A large book stickers along the line. 25 haphazardly on top and underneath. Shelves line against the western oak wall contains scraps of iron and massing copper. Off the floor of the room are piles of leather and this room serves as a hallway. A cycle of various weapons and doors and actual shelves feature. You can't help but notice a group of goblins. 7, tall and covered in fur. They are swimming through debris of piles of stone as look to see you. You slowly all 7 goblins gaining XP. Getting closer to level 13 probably if you weren't level 13 already. Empty barrels and empty shelves fill this room. A supply depot that is seriously supplies by appearance. Only scraps of iron and leather with few sticks are currently in stock. Various animal hides and blankets cover the floor. You get the impression that this is a communal sleeping room for the remaining bugbears. The room feels safe and secure, and you can understand why the bugbears choose it. Fortunately for you, it is deserted at present. You came to the entranceway very sensitive.
Green across
A 3-step orders, inside contents, it safe as soon as the stone room for the inhabitants of the dungeon. This room seems out of place. The right room is in a stretch of the dungeon where wide, empty walls are small, cracked cells. This room is cozy. A large balcony is beside it by the center of the room. Adding to the overall strangeness of the scene, this heavy light flash age, and his name is calm and unobtrusive. That is a bugbear. You see the bugbear. I'm going to say that he's a king now. Congratulations. You can look at the knee. This is small and dominated by eating object. Even if you can tell he is well. Over 7 feet tall and massive pyros muscles, waiting to snack. His hair is gray and molted, and deep scars lying at the bugbear's face, just like hands. Staring at you from his perch, his one eye strips deeply curious about you. He seems to be having the same trouble reading you as you have reading him. This is all the king, and he would rather not fight you. What is that after you? Your sense for XP, slay him. You slay off him. Soon will be on his way now, and true ass. Something to be impressed about. Gotcha.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
This is masterworks here, nothing more. It is based on the providers for perfect engineering. Along with that, this upper chamber is quite large ships to prepare cat healthy monsters. Abandoned in several rooms, 2 young opposite walls sit atrophy of a pair of red eyes. These look consumers and general suspected. Storage. The door to the door is locked. Bugbear fire. The door to the door is locked. The last line of defense. This is fire to refuse it. The second line of defense is placed on the side of the bottom of the fire stand. So let's see what we can do to play up the bugbears. The head actually is really empty with a mystery iron. Not this time the defense is already done. Listening to a safe back here, coming in and out of the room, beside the mud shelves, the holy bottom of the eye. We have really close to the bottom of the eye. They have usually the gold fighting again, office. The god king, and they are the new god. Once the corner and the side of the rest of the people,
You have my thanks.
from God is going on the way, it will be very container. All the words salaries and police, which is what the conflict, retribution, against all hands, and the federal government action, and the copy by those not separate, the copy of the harvest, the electric team, the god's wrath, the government of Alice, which is the government, and attacking the side. No one usually is the government after the hour.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Volunteers on the point!
We're continuing, I think, at level 14 right now. So, I think we're going to use the final option, and you're going to be taking on a demon, I think, so be cautious. The entire region is designed specifically to hold a powerful demon. I'm going to try to read this. The demon is a powerful demon. No, this time is a familiar and focused on groups of main demons and other creatures that will also have first here. When the cataclysm that shook the entire dungeon hit, most of these machines escaped, but the second time, which allowed them to load was imprisoned and remained completely intact. Over the years, several groups of explorers and settlers came to the region, but the great demon said remained undisturbed and undiscovered.
Our objective
Their time is running out. Push them back.
now, near the point!
His destiny, when final program arrived, the 41 men occupying areas established. It was widely believed by the 41 canopies that were the end of the line of the traditional worshippers of my ribbon. So they really didn't go back further explanation. When the prison vault has fallen from below, it was recognized as the name of the demon we're going to try and be hunting. Our people, two ago, prison vault has been my ribbon to some deity, and the real revenge is that the all body and the second time again. They the last year of their lives that might have a demon that escaped. I'm not going to be asking you to give your life to fight this demon. I think you can take my level 14. You did just its leg anew. You think the goblins, the God King of Goblins, Atlas, you killed him last session. So if you can kill Atlas, which was a Goblin God King, then I think you can take on a escaped combat demon person. All these things now is recorded in only one place. It's the soul account. The soul account. The last battle was subsequent to the night of the servants of Byron. Since Autumn was its only living witness to lose its count in the pattern. It is important to note that imperial travel is possible, and to a careful expert wizard Arwen a few months after the arrival, the boundaries of Ethereal pocket all roughly 100 feet in every direction from the altar, clearly visible if the subject can see objects in the ethereal plane. So, and he has that ether sight. I can see ghosts. You might be seeing a lot of them in this demon prison that are going to get a lot of people out of here. There might be a lot of lost spirits in the ethereal plane, lamenting their lives and deaths in this region. If they're in the ethereal plane, that is not necessarily meant that ghosts are people actually doing objects and attacking you, and an ether spirit. It's just a hallucinating experience that you can witness if you have ether vision or ether sight.
Prepare.
And that's not anything that's on either side. Unless the ethereal spirit you'll witness it has some sort of important information and use it. And once we move through the forgotten college and garrison, when the Knight's Paladins increased with my room were summoned to the dungeon, they established a base of operations for the garrison in ruins. Though none of the servants of my room survived, evidence of their passage is evidence for that area. It was my room, a minor goddess of the oceans, travel, and vigilance, who summoned her lost worshippers to the region of the vast dungeon prison. At the time, those who answered the goddess's call did not know what was expected of them. They stayed here for more than 3 years until one day that was finally revealed to them. Months before the violent demon imprisoned in the room broke free, the last servants of the goddess of my room, who had really gave up their lives to help an angel show the demon before I thought they were explaining to me before I just read an angel believe that. Always hope this area still has some significance. None of the wizard Arwen, who was with them, knew of their sacrifice, but were it not for the brave men and women of the order of my room, the demon would have unleashed its wrath upon the whole world, forgotten the Arwen. Broken table lens in its succumbing instead of the lenses of the ethereal nothing officer is not saturated with the same dust as others in the air. It's an eerily quiet, and the walls are a few broken cherries along the edges of this room appears if the chains were stacked there, but the wood is rotted and worms infested. Ethereal filters away, secret door, solid step door, investigation along the wall. Massive door spins on vertical. Central spindle, so quickly left side of the door, but the lights are the games and opens extensions, bodies and effects infected one side of the shop. Close it with the most object moving slowly as we were thinking light here. This is one of the white here. Priest and the people that attack us. This creature alive that appears in some kind of physical. She says it's humans. They are called out like a these these battles. I'm shaman on this. Over the years, so that we can start to find that hero problem. This is how we think it's this thing is capable of attacking us. It chooses not to, because it also things that things are however, you don't know yourself, it is the force it out of the theater, and you don't want to stay alone in this ring, so you force it out of the theater realm, and bang it without getting some speed. You give this small shrine. The floors and walls of this room are surprisingly clear, but the most prominent feature is small, that all shrines hanging glyph against the eastern wall. Silver one shrines in red of an ancient symbol. The followers of my room use the small shrine to meditate upon they benefit from that. And that 12 hours after the shrine, it is very alive and more less, so you're not here. These are twice as good as you normally do. Even trying to make sense. The intolerant stage is taking over from this chamber. Temporary going, the confidence of her what see anything, things walls inside place. How else I can make that you establish more than she discussed. It is a poorly decayed power that fits the corporate introduced to researcher that Ruby's knows a flying game tries to attack me. I don't quit until the fight's done. Well, damage is uses a maybe have some layer of shooting the magic missile at it that you destroy and use that straight and you continue gaining HP over and over while you're trapping it.
We are getting this.
Several football and blankets are lined up on the floor of the small room. The blankets are dusty and rotten, but the walls are ice cold painted. A soothing green shade, the cracks have begun to appear, and otherwise the smooth surface of the room becomes daylight. Behind, there are just small gaps in the uniform and painted together. Past the floor, enters a couple of ladies. You slay the jump roaches, they still have side columns or points, probably 9 total. You gain XP. Former remember, because moments ago his latches turn, swings inward as a giant pendulum will catch the ceiling of slaves. Inside all the floor, there are 6 levels, 6 yellow around resting on the side of the southeast corner, and all the one chair with 3 legs. 4 spots starting room. 2 great stone chairs face each other across the room, like room musical waiting for operating millions of sitting watch their champions compete. The character will actually in the same vessel, the back sport being a large max for 2 top games, anonymous, rapid anything of a semblance so proud. The chair is to use the shape like nothing less than Sonoma, cruel back upon itself and returning to the rest whoever sits in its path. Both chairs are set about 4 feet in front of their respective walls. There's an insanity mist on a vapor craft. You might know triggered insanity mist and fully with insanity mist. And we're not going to fortitude and will saves the time alone going into a terrible state of insanity from insanity mist. You come out of your illusions of insanity and all your hallucinations of things that weren't really there subside and go back into a normal state of mind. Large normal room. The roads of elder mole statues arranged in this room contrast with the most dark and interesting area. There are also several moles painted on the walls. There's also a phone to the night that shining over on it, saying about how ship with the actual demonstration in the rest of the wall that makes the battle from the doctor. And all the features of the little light in place beyond the sky is also a breathtaking picture of a beautiful woman running out of all scene and sunset and going to the current, but taking from the current using it on that group of people. And the painting itself is afraid that you might damage it, so it summons moles and gargoyles to attack you to try and kill each other. You have an option, you have the opportunity to damage the painting itself. The walls is around on 7 and it considers moles and gargoyles and you can vote that that's moles monsters. There's that flow gargoyles and 10 moles and you slay each of them correctly. You get it. You should be able to do that. Thank you, distracted. The moon is busy in the room. The main game is experience that I know use perhaps is no reason to make it so consistently and useful. For the same reference, however, these must not be referred to as power to ago. Which translates to the following as the indirected ability to escape imprisonment of any kind of natural renown for being in the next world. Power to ago is often harsh because power to ago is a bit of a second. Often speaking, the rest of the ways because of power to ago will be back users all naturally delivered to constitution. These are new after all. The people who offer this is the advance and the Christmas holiday and unfading vigilance and celestial value. Even though there would be no escape from the setup, he expected to be busy finding the discipline hash in order to hasten the freezing process. The value is then emotional from tapping itself to the happy itself in the body and allowing the end. Even though this is not from his path itself in the body and allowing the end. Only for all known to the all, including the all known to the all. So after what time it's freezing the middle of the way, the first part is the final for all the all. I'm not going to rant to you because each and I is going to be prepared to say
Objective is under attack. Get on it. I'm a man on a mission. Stay out of my way.
Dialogue with Ranfield. Over centuries, so they've talked for centuries. Who knows how genetic threats and who's isn't the hammer Ranfield's not moving from that phase of heaven, also in prison, during the last 20 years of their goodness to be 50, to see the leads of John Ranfield, the lead function of his local issue, I wonder if people know the state he poisoned the soul of the mind and were fools and used for the city, became confused and why was he here? He was on the soul and he was keeping confused, he was keep on walking. that match up in prison came when the Wizard Aura arrived back in the show, because Aura was going to slay Flower Tulo under the orders of the lesser deity or goddess Madeline, and that's everything fell apart in the life. I went with the laboratory, and I got to take opportunity to speak telepathically with the wizard, and probably through Aura insane too. So that's how he's so good, so all of that demon is resisting Constantine the same. He's just fucking mad. He's insane, man, you know.
I will not cause I will not like this.
The monk that would be removed from false imprisonment with Angel, the demon father who was placed instead of the prison complex. The demons told Aura that it was impossible for him to gain freedom without the setting demon free. Ready for combat. Technically, when he spoke, it prevented the possibility of someone freeing the angel because it would also release the demon. Asher said that refusal of all offers assistance left the demon be set free, and based on the both in his head was the angel, Amaranthio. Using Amaranthio, Aura challenged nothing other than but occasionally terrific Aura. During his studies, these conversations with frequent as Aura asked Flash for advice on actual theories and practices while working with his lab. Wolf has information about the structure and Asher said no to the biology of these that are produced. All of the brain not spending each time in the field for the rest of the defeat, and his research was suffering because of it. And Asher suggested taking rooms on the planet order as the east of the world. This would also force a great amount of teamwork and walls in the prison. Already, however, did not. More closely formed by the Olympic and this was sure to take forward the prison and also easily fully directly as the walls every over the roof and no time for the water, which was right as the floor. Most wall was wicked, Alor Tulo, and Amaranthia broke free. When Ash and Amaranthia broke through the wall of the prison, the members of the order of Marina and the brave warriors of Aruna fought the evil, all increased the number of allegiance to True Amaranthia and activated his true sight. He was then known as Ripple in his own Amaranthia, and now first to a major of his trickery. The Howling of Aruna gave their lives to allow Amaranthia to see through the human story. This sacrifice allowed the angels to regain their senses before they meet. But eventually, the rest of the complication between Deal and Amaranthia is recording all these kills every hour. So I would make sure to be ready for some folks to like already AIDS next time. We're really 15 and we're going to sit the word of solar tires because they're more dangerous.
Taking off! Game on!
Alright, so we're 15 for the Thursday. There was talk of such a being and a solar team. And it sounds like right now, that's might be why the earthquake happened and why everything is shattered. We're going to Tarkarian deaths, and we can only hope that before we move out with this solar angel, that you can get more levels. I said this would be taking you to level 20, which some people consider the max level of character in Dungeons & Dragons. Only be the final age you would be willing to play Dungeons & Dragons hands. If you want solar, we can distribute the boss for it makes sense for solar angel under demonic influence to be final boss, and so the game if we slaying or defeating a solar angel, you're going to need to be at least 8 levels higher, or you're going to need to actually put a foolproof plan that you can engage to defeat the thing. And hope if you're lucky everything works out. So we're going to be going into the Tarkarian depths of the Zil Master. Zil, from what I can remember, are a humanoid insect species. So they when we say insect species, that might just mean really humanoid insects. That either means they're really tiny people, or they're people-sized and have exoskeletons, which is that their exoskeletons are on their outsides instead of on their insides. And when you think about it, it's kind of hard to understand what any of the terminology means, but they're called Zil. And I don't know if they're friendly or not, because we're just going to be going around slaying guys we encounter them, we're going to be fighting targeting, and just killing these things until we can get 8 more levels so we can kill that solar angel under demonic influence. Because I think that's what we're here to do. So, this is not happening away, personal description. We've got a few talk of this guy, Chitrax. Chitrax is a diabolic Zil, such however that society willingly cast them out from under the flames for the remainder of eternity. They can man-shifting and walking through different planes, like to those who got elementals, and like, I don't know what they're thinking about these exiled from different planes. You think there'd just be one. range and wonder what's being exiled. Zil led a search for a good way to score his people outright. Okay, that doesn't make sense to me. In the course of his roamings, he came upon information which confirmed the existence of a malevolent exiled god, Astrakor. Undying, a terrible threat, disability of playing set free. These things get worse. The exiled god, well, I guess this exiled god may or may not be as dangerous as a solar angel, because Heartless was already involved in God King, and he was really powerful. We think of human level over, however, we can 20, I think, 2.5, it is 20, at least level 20, but then I got, and it looks like the campaign we're playing through, that's not true. It looks like God is just a template they can add on to things, and this campaign, or adventure that we're walking through. There is no evidence of this exiled god's existence, so this is all just rumors. Nothing concrete, nothing substantiated, no clues, no evidence of it. There is talk that there is this exiled god. We would just heard his name, Astral before. Something like that, it's just on Astral. One way to reach this god that she tried to realize was through my power over wish cell. Moreover, the Zil knew where he can find one at minimal cost. Aware of the world's largest dungeon and its original purpose, he suspected the devil as well to still contain the powerful pit fiend named Kitol. Wow, pit fiend, honestly? Wow. I guess you would need to slay a pit fiend first before you got to a solar angel under demonic influence. You would probably need to slay a pit fiend or a battle before getting to solar angel. Wow. Always forget about those. Then Ketor. Yeah. In that plan to be certain, Chitrax has been especially careful not to reveal the truth behind his goals, for he knows reaching the walls of a visit would surely result in the deaths of all his servants. The wicked Zil traveled a myriad of material planes, but Atlas, for all his searching, he could not locate the place. That might be a typo. I think it's supposed to say alas, or maybe it does say alas, but alas, it kind of looked like Atlas when the font is all shiny and pixelized, and we specifically made out the details per letter of the word or sentence. You're sort of guessing at it. Me, it looks like it says Atlas. But I know that's what we're thinking. It's also amazing how we can't really keep track of the words we say at each other, and, how much of this is just filling the air with one's voice, Yes, I think it was alas. So why do you say but alas? I have to look up the technical usage function of the word alas. Remember, Dusty Tones spoke eloquently of it with frustration to torture and name the sage and soul in his efforts to locate the massive complex, and to finally realize the soul behind name, Alchemag. Even Chitrax had heard of this ancient lore master, but he had believed, like most things in the plains, the old man dead. He quickly tracked down the sage, finding and deep within the astral plane. That makes sense. Of course, it's going to be there. After torturing the old man for 2 years, the sage finally revealed the location of the dungeon. Not trusting the information, Chitrax took the crippled scholar with him. When they finally reached the sprawling complex, he killed the old man and left his bones to rot on the surface before descending into the dungeon's tunnels. Unable to locate the vault on his own, he suspected it remained concealed and intact. He also realized he could never hope to uncover the vault on his own, as the labor would be too overwhelming for just the one creature, so he turned to the Duro, those are deep wolves, I think, Duro, for assistance. In their warrens, they had uncovered extensive veins of true silver, a substance especially useful for controlling and containing devils. That makes sense. True silver would be used for infernal purposes. That makes a lot of sense, actually. In deposits of adamantium, 2 things Chitrax knew. The Celestial was used to create the vault holding the fiends. With the recent geological instability, more and more clues revealed themselves to the malicious, self-serving Zil, turning suspicion into solid evidence. Before the inevitable assumption of control over the Mad Duro, Chitrax approached a trapped Thorian queen. I thought the Zil were the Thorian. I'm sorry, I got Zil and Thorian confused. I just disregard everything I've said about their species. Weakened and injured from a costly war with the Duro, and desperate to be back in touch with the hive on her native plane, the Zil's honeyed words swayed her, and she agreed to transfer control over her most trusted miter marks. In exchange for her freedom, the Zil lied, of course, and murdered her in the shadows of an obscure cave with her eggs all around her, stealing her essence and trapping it in a special phylactery. I think I'm saying that right. Phylactery. I've seen the word before, but it's something I should probably look up. Phylactery. Considering the unusual nature of the region, Chitrax organized his minions with brutal efficiency. He commands the entire operation, answering to none. Serving him are 3 Thorian my remarks. I think those are like matriarchs, and they just have a specific word for their matriarchs, which are my remarks. And his responsibilities, talking about Great Hall, extravagant Great Hall maybe, his responsibilities include procuring stone golems from the gnome, positioning the golems at checkpoints throughout the complex, and maintaining existing ones. Also serving him are squads of Thorian warriors, some of whom rag gorgons. These guards oversee extraction caverns, patrol the tunnels, and ensure traps and sentry towers are in working order, and so on. Chitrax, not content with the true silver extracted by another meter, meter marks, crows, started drilling into the Great Hall for the more true silver, entrusting the operation and addition to responsibilities for security. In fact, the Great Hall has transformed from the region's central nervous system to a massive drill, refinement, and transportation site. Hence, security is thinner there than it was just a few short weeks ago. The second meter mark controls the security and excavation of the northern mines. With the recent waves of plague and road-zilla ambushes, the place has collapsed into chaos. Furthermore, the mirror mark here does not trust the Zill master. It bides his time, waiting for proof of his suspicion to service most of the remaining labor there, or to build a giant bore to expedite mining. Why would you build a giant bore to mine things? I don't know. The last mirror mark oversees excavation. A typical extraction crew consists of a past master, bearer leaders, a lesser servant, 3 handler crews, 3 teams. Each group of handlers control the following. I can't read any of those words. Each monster digging team crushes the rocks, and teams are responsible for removing the rubble. 2 teams are composed of the Grimlock Swordsmen and Durgar slaves. Durgar, that's the word I was looking for. Those are the deep dwarves. I don't know what Durgar are. Just second Durgar, man. You need anything to the Durgar. Did you find out what Durgar are? Oh, that's understandable. The deep dwarf soldiers. This crew uses a magic device created by the evil known to test the depth of the rock, search for dead crews that we're mining, and see if they're still alive. Material compositional changes. Their efforts are dangerous and futile. It's dangerous to use the device because it occasionally unleashes crackling electricity, nearly always vaporizing a slave or two. It is futile because the device only has an accurate range of about 5 to 10 feet due to the volt's inherent warping nature. Fortunately, the recent collapses and stability of these excavations severely reduce the Euro's main structure, allowing Chitrax to ingratiate himself easily. Slipping past the Patronus and the xenophobia that describes the psychology of this degenerate race, heroes quickly advance to become the trusted advisor of the only remaining high savant, eventually supplanting any of the control of the we're in caves now, in caverns. There was a cutting a large room from before when they realized all this stuff is looking around us, and this prison was fragile, all this stuff. And, we went into the crack to see where it was exposed to, and we're in caves now, in caverns. This is all seeming very familiar. There's a sentry tower hanging on the broken plain as that one tower instead of a roof. A large spike bears an impaled effigy of an unrecognizable humanoid. 3 base reliefs of demonic faces decorate the surface of the structure. On the brows of each of the faces is bright blue, red, and yellow gemstone, each about a foot in diameter. Aside from the open maws, swilling reddish fluid, perhaps blood. There are no entrances into the building. 2 scattered piles of broken bones later, no need to see some partial submerged in the crimson runoff. And as soon as I heard that gems and the sentence, all you need to do is run and, auto-lock the target and just say, yes, you would like to do this thing, and otherwise you're just going to be locked down into a whole bunch of microtransactions, or just non-stop microtransactions. Wow. And then once you're doing a whole bunch of microtransactions, it's just so the code vibrates more, or the connotations to the technical notes of the words said vibrates more, and wow. Written caves. Intersection with cave. Cipher gauntlet. I thought they open for interpretation. Hastily patched hole. We're in caves. Burrowing caves. There's other things already burrowed there. Encounter. Giant mall monsters. Slay them. XP. Playhouse 9. Flow. There's a river of flow out in the water. Going free from bow is probably pointless because it's not for you. Avoid it. Interactions, and you get experience from that. And in this part of the cavern is the dead. All the dead are in this part of the cavern. You walk over all the dead bodies in this cavern. You're in a cave. You're underground. And it just seems like there's everyone already dead in this part of the cavern. You're just walking over all these dead bodies. There's just piles and mounds of dead bodies. And you're just like, whoa, that's too many. It's too many. It's just too many dead bodies. There's a magical barrier. You find some way to dispel it, and you continue. Storage cave. Wow, I would have never thought of using a natural cavern complex for storage. It's like how much you take with you. Our inventory is unlimited. I move all everything that's stored here, even the useless stuff, into an inventory. You just smash it, you slay it, you crush it. You break it in. No, slay all the moon equipment. You've got magic and bows and arrows and swords that shoot other swords. How long do you slay them? How long are we going to be? You know, we're getting XP, we're getting XP. Unstable tunnel. Stone giants, guys, boss battle, stone giants. Well, those are so easier to kill than stone golems. Oh, next turn, stone golems was going to take twice as long. The sounds of industry, weird lights and ghastly shadows filling the walls of a 30-foot-long tunnel. Pounding noises of metal clanging on metal, echo up ahead, making the tunnel inordinately loud. Otherwise, the tunnel is as dark as it is ordinary. There are some guards. You dispose of the guards. There is a factory, there is gallery, houses, a major operation, stores of Duro, work at various tables and forges, constructing weapons, tools, carts, and rails, more insect men, staying at locations throughout the room, overseeing the operation. In the center of the room is a stone golem, obviously built from petrified humanoids. How could a stone golem be built from petrified humanoids? So they were already turned into some type of statue. A crucible, where a liquid fat and other metals bubble, spitting sparks indulging toxic fumes, lights the room with struggling, inconsistent warmth. Ahead, another tunnel leads to a large cavern with several buildings and hidden TWLD slaves. You can pass several boundaries in this part of the cave. These boundaries are built out of the natural stone, and where all the stuff is mined is taking place. None of this was part of anybody's idea. Someone just took advantage of the general cataclysm that was happening, and this naturally occurring in a cavern complex. Wow, the veins of this cavern complex that were naturally carrying the earth are so potent for these native beings that are taken a prison to go. Okay. A lot to react to. Because you're in a great dining hall where all the miners would, this was lunchtime, I don't know how often they eat, or if they have specific times for eating, more than just once per day. But it looks like they have a massive, the size of a air hangar, or it's larger than a stadium inside is their dining hall for when they finally do eat. All the miners eat at the same time. And it's just a massive, massive event. Well, eventually we find a light at the end of the tunnel, and we just take that light out of the tunnel. Something that is blocking the tunnel exit is a massive boar that we need to kill. So we kill the boar and we exit the tunnel. So now we're out of this massive cavern complex, and we're lucky to get out. Oh yes. We are now outside of the cavern complex. After killing all those slaves and miners and insect men, we are now level 16. We are out of the complex, out of the cavern complex. And we will be entering into the last thing, because even though we're out of the caverns and the mines, we're actually still, for some reason, still just like in the middle of one dungeon. And I was just, we just sort of trying to see where this massive cavern complex was going, and we got some XP from it. We slay a lot of weird insect creatures and a lot of things with very pointless lives. We're level 16 now. We're level 16. A few more of those, and we might be able to beat this demonic solar angel, or the solar angel under the influence of a demonic agenda. I guess I came back with this is all that. So we'll see how this goes, and if we can actually get over to level 20 and survive. So, we're just glad to not be in caves anymore. Caves are weird. Caves are weird. Huh. So we're not in caves anymore. We're level 16.
Come on, bring it together.
The last thing, this is you guys, the last thing. The hard drive section, we fighting to control an uneven battle to the host, because the current sorcery players and other methods to the machines are fighting robots now. People miners and caves now are the last things, and you guys, we're fighting machines now. You guys are going to attack machines like science, technology, before humanoid, this has to be it. We fight machines. We think are real machines. And this is the last thing. Illumination. The Celestials who man the air no darkness is allied evil, so they fill this region, the heart of the garrison, with magical righteousness. Unless otherwise specified and restricted, every room in this region has a continual flame, lantern, built into the ceiling, at the center of every single square. This one has complete total illumination. The overall time since some dramatic feeling that has failed has been dispelled, or the origin has been destroyed. Some abnormalities are described in the resume instructions. There's a bunch of words and lists, which is always exploding words and lists. Every word is seems to be vibrating more than they have like a spell sound is saying, so that the vibrates in the room very quietly, and it's difficult to hear, but if you were actually listening, you could hear the word that was in the room as Master Callisto, who is our written arcane arts, which you can choose for. It's such a spirit. So we can look into that every day. This is really good at explodes. This is the warning, this is drops, it's apparently can be opened. It was an explosion, every day. The last thing, fighting the never goes, it's a human, machine, never goes, more traps. Combining robots can be combining temple. The robots that built in their own temple. More living blue with a necromancer. The necromancer is working with inevitables. He wants into a crypt like necromancer. So we find out that every single power level of 16 is remember, which was good enough to loot, but would be sent for next week. Create the circle throne made of stone fragments and brick, dominate the center of this large upper room, as an object for the room. Parts of the room is joined with dissipated corpses and more clearing and creatures die here. As he enters, the young bird form remains in the large shadow form, and watching the throne, his eyes glowing bright red. Holy crying shadow. Monster axis. The great shadow. Medium of dead. Somebody teach that shadow. Shadows is creating this week. Even the walls are suspended from the ceiling, bathing the entire room in a long well. This room is filled from ceiling to floor, looks of all, which all and looking to any outlets. This room is created being touch, it has one small corner. That's the way the entire area is not room is smithy, doors, turn it up! The walls are awful, sick. First floor statements, entire hallway focus. Nationality is walked through much of the ancient fortress. Nothing
has stopped me.
There's all different types of
The objective is under attack.
the entire hallway. Yeah, after that, many tracks going off, and description of paintings, the entire hallway, this being the third hallway, and finally the one track.
Armor. Output is under attack. There's zero cells of these on one end.
Anchor rooms are always towards chambers, always full of moving quarters. Careful of those ones rooms. Clear of those ones rooms. Containment room.
Oh, this is my jam!
Testing room 1. Testing room 3. Mobile guards room. Practice hall. Hidden the mayor's quarters. Chapel. The basic ones.
I'm just getting started.
Inevitable Joseph. There we go. Some inevitables have fractured from the many years and finding the inevitables and the redeemed control the central and eastern patrols. Both of these, while the rest of the celestials control the western parts of the entirety of the inevitables efforts directed towards keeping and
let's break it!
and the fate, brutal attention to the creatures that infiltrated. They all know their religions and hide what the hell. Instead, they concentrate on keeping the rules. Charge where they remain enslaved, or so much the inevitable groups and the creatures. Taking these creatures too weak, they really consume them. Despite the possible lives of the individuals, they wonder the towers. However, so some of the early celestials are really considered to be sick. And this is a result of the more than hundreds in the majority of the region, so when they were meetings, the men of the pools and houses these creatures in the Lego garrison has been whittled down to 19 members who occupy 12 even in the more than half of the region. The inevitables pay lip service to the foreign members of the era, but immediately realize that it completes me. With the inevitables sustained and unfailing launch of the roads to the other celestials are limited in their prison, but as time has gone into the universe, it became down in their keeping the roads and finding time to walk, and the lives of people in the world, and the world continue to travel towards the ways for the towers of the celestials. People by remaining speaking as economies, those celestials, and maybe in their times of the ways, where they are ready for things to continue in time for other few centuries, they feel themselves already, and the lives of the beings of the helpless, even those beings who are in the world, and many of those formed from every few centuries, connected to the world, the world of the primitive has never been free from. They believe, behave, dramatically, leading, Talaria, to fear, they may have to be put down and dying with, sometimes, the people of the United States. The one design of intention to enable us not especially as hard to believe, and enable us to think of the people to practice, to practice, to learn, to practice, to learn, to inclusion, and using, to the same limits, to realize, and to all allow them, to take the law, to allow them, and then, everything, so to somehow, to some people, this limit enables now to handle the local and neutral creatures, living out of the world, to believe, enables to see and realize anything that the creatures enables the pressures of the shows and instead of the people who these locals, they are fighting against it, anyone who seems to hold their vote, they watch on the same place. Remembering the days and the pain, things are really opportunity, very long chores and driving awards, such as some of the rooms, this is a chance of finding and helping some of that room back home. So it looks like there are some specific notables, machines that have names and identities, will be a group of all title. Maybe. Dorothan, bringing all the chaos, although that zealous as other zealous, and pursuing those who escape justice. Dorothan is concerned with educating their strange virtues about what they want. People make complaints and remain themselves all the time with them. Dorothan is only the way to go on. The female will complete and holy in what they beat to basically return to good. Judar, master of submission, tries to enforce an agreements of fit theory for surrender.
Oh, let's break it!
不洗澡。
inevitable to treat it as one method of genetic and clinical cells as series. Those type of concept is set on the concept. There is some very exciting opinions that defending their large and losing away. But the kind of reading their system and then doing seven hands and the efforts of the all at the same. And the secret secret from staying in Africa. And the statues were true for this one. More time, so we were closer, and more time, some series we still get this up as the first, a couple layers, who is entertaining metrics that can false and use everyone to switch it. He's trying to generally unfair unless they can cause or result is possible in most moments because of fulfill his program. Despite his program concept, he's not able to substitutions in the region class, and he's able to use the system of say on that, and really more so than that, each of them, so that we are kind of using that for the law, and there's the composition errors and the team, which is what we were doing, so it only being one show, there was the instruments that I used in terms of the time, and those are things, instead of the calling and set law, high education to the host, master of laws and legal history, liberation, he helps to follow, so it's using for memorization, is more controlling away or rolling into the concept, so you can always agree to forget, but it is some very necessary and important things, using for the really set base, when they have use, so now, keep it with, the same version, so people always go with the iPhone and videos and every kind of never knew. You have to engage in real life technology. Everybody looking at the high things that we know from the time. After the days of every really interesting. We want to raise important way back those and things to this. And kind of very simple way to change. And all this comes around close to the same girls looking for the older. So I think never going to reach. That is how I think I get out of that. All of the basically we were looking at serious tests and something on people's really come to the serious place. It's not as tools like this is there from the efficient facilities constantly looking for other capabilities. Because long-term buttons, terrorists is only a hold of same authorities that taking contacts for those specifically in terms of local agents or trade reporters and service for the money they routine happens an indicator. But now, you guys even in some people's phone, you guys are trying to
let's break it!
My ultimate is charging.
Oh, let's break it! Damn!
The world machine whose consciousnesses that all hold anyway. They were then become the zero
Victory is near. Hold
holders, URS holders, milk wax holders, stores redeeming dosing holders, Microsoft holders, Lens holders, food holders, Alterax holders, Holiday holders, Hidden Augury, Lost Garden,
不洗澡。
Drop the beat.
Following up in colonization, sealing birds and missiles to move away, field of natural suffering and information. Speaking features can be heard in the distance that as long as 5 is such a noise may be much posted poems are all coded in text in a range of languages, all 5 direct lanes of sound. Bouncy room. Home of the trumpet decline, room of warmth, silence, white noise, room of cogs, meditation. Wow. Room of night, room of death. Celestial garrison. Oh, the surviving members of the Atlas-Atman. Okay, so you're level 17. Okay. Really, orientation in the deeper reaches of dungeon live retreated when her place was overrun shortly after the first earthquake peaceful. Arms to lost comrades and wicked someone will find their bodies down in the depths, where they lie and bury mystery questions anyone who returns from the lower depths of hell. In the celestials they find beneath hoping against hope, some of the comrades survive. Morpor, whose arms are soaked in blood as far as right hand man, she is often most powerful individual combatants, almost the surviving members of the garrison of Hezbollah desire to leave, where once enemies blow and friends innocent safety for devastating evil, assigned to the garrison, are truly inseparable. Morpor carries one of the wood sounds when the blood and boost, signed one of the reserve leaders assigned to the garrison's assembly, who is now seen much formed by the members of the garrison more than stolen outright. He is unsure of the skill of the warrior, he also inclines at best, and often fears the result will shame him in the hands of others. Sorting, in the middle of the dimension, Archon, sorting, keeps an eye on the growing area in the shadows, so concerned with the growing numbers of shadows, that he is more naturally capable of sorting than the shadow hunting himself, and instead he accompanies distribution past him, sorting is protective of other lantern Archon, and sees himself as the United States of the others. Star. Where the lantern Archon started to connect everyone, measuring glories and reading, and the answer Star is painful, but those encounters who are not evil, helping them find their way through the dark. Sark normally avoids combat feeling for the protection of the other celestials. He swears that while Morpor is not the most capable warrior in the garrison, nor desire combat than the swears, she spends much of her crying time citing rewards and training, always skulking for a fight. Celestial Mountain. And these are the really slave the Inevitables. I guess this was a conflict between two sides of machines versus angels, and the Celestials, which are divine light beings or something like that. I don't know what Celestial is, honestly.
System check initiated.
Read
across the board and ready for action.
They slay them in level 18, congratulations, moving close to level 20, and then this will be behind us.
I will strike our enemies where they do not expect.
I kind of feel speaking nauseous after that last part where we got level 18, I think. We're all level 18. Read so much. When we were playing Dungeons & Dragons, level 18, your moving is called Maze. And this one's oddly specific because if I was going to make a paper role-playing game, I would call it Maze, just Maze. So this region is the Maze, and it's in Dungeons & Dragons, in the Levels Waters Dungeon. Curious to see total-locking devices set on them. Inside opens the door of Wargate, an international connection between space is created. Such a Wargate opens an random location as determined by the Wargates. Random locations are random. Wargates. Breaking extra grounds. People attacking the ground, breaking X. Things goes by traveling and moving and running. Shadows will work with the world of anything. And I first see working with the police and the human images. We try to let them do the next. Sexual related each is cheating. Since it's found since it's good, randomly exposure to the service hobbies and manipulates that live in the region. Into the conflict. Service can help out the question with cheapens, political qualifications. In this kind of entertaining burial themes that are leading to the party where the battle swings are now they're retaining locked himself into a cell and using a potion magical device to control other people's bodies and enter the body of other battlefield into a potion permanently. The host and health and body of him those always are cheating and lucky and those all believing and lucky should be taken. And the more so the more lucky so the ancestral will be seen to the physical where the things to encounter most critical time had to separate the word safe the remain of the people. Long time and mostly the and stepping to the critical poison of the match. Those remaining willing to mark moves for the time and access is already way too much to actually keep track of.
That which doesn't kill you.
When it gets the keys to the keys to a bunch of teleporting devices are in the own specific individuals, so I guess it's the whole part of the section is killing the specific individual with the Wargate key, and then using that Wargate key to get into the next area, killing another individual with that Wargate key, and then continuing to pass the life to the enemies equal but long time. Breaking these barriers. Killing, trying to save the Wargate key and go into the next area.
I'll finish the job.
Secret wall panel. Training room. Low Minify guard. Ale storage. We saw that Ale storage. And I first met even encountered here at Ale storage. Now, that will keep them.
Cannot hold me.
When we don't lose the shadows, it's only the predators. I just walk into it. I mean, we locked in big time guys, like all the things, everything is full of people. It's there, anything's hot. So, just realize. Chickens, sons, and all of them, because they're very big, some of the centers, so I'm sure once you trust me, it's still all over the world, I can't take us a place, you just quickly back. There's so many restrictions, so honestly, getting to know what I'm reading, and
let's try that again.
And to treat it so trivial makes it all inspiring. These rules are just don't take it. It's crazy. It's just too much. It's too much. It's just get this again. After filming the work and simple, and consult exactly what you do every time you look live, that's episode you can check out.
They're taking the objective.
And so you can go all and down and sort originally what it was, we realized you hadn't built to the world in your own mind large enough to have a valid opinion of your own wants. Wow. Nothing anymore. All of it orders, movie orders. The first thing is to distill the powers and new powers up to new functions.
I'm good to go. Repositioning.
Atlas-Atman Guards. Isolated working. Building guard's chamber. Wow. Once again, wow.
Good. From the shadows.
Because it's like impossible to, it is impossible, it's actually impossible to tell all the countries and no one is going to spend 2 years of their lives moving through an art piece that they had no say in its creation. It seems to be just sort of verbal abuse part of it directly at the relation you could have, and then the computer tell you that you are leveling up and moving forward and you're growing with miracle and everything is getting better and better. You are becoming more capable as a person. I believe you have such a relationship that I don't see you in the rest of the film.
The name's McCree.
All you can accomplish is ready to move. All over the school, where you can end everything that's hanging on you.
I ain't much for waiting
Crazy.
around.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Maybe kind of faster. I don't even know what I'm reading or saying. A shadow just said, well, this whole seems so much the same. I can't just continue reading the same thing, repeating phrases. It's all those different. Force reactions. This is how it happens. Force work gates. When we use our control, we were going to work gates, and we really should have been seeing what we were going to do. Who said we were taking it? I've never seen this. Something like that. People want to see the person through the world of something because we quickly switch it easily. And that's not taking all the times all the time is occurring. And so I'm going to take it up the old man before, we take the time to have much of really essential work to expansion. And I know what happened when you try and get another there's all this interpretation. It's insane. It's insane. A little snooze. Whoa. I don't understand this. It's going to be so bad. I need this kind of a reaction time between the story and my own. So there's another thing to just making the reaction to the computer. Using the reason outside the computer with the computer on my brain. But at the same time, trying to keep it back from the control series. Control series at 44 through at 50. Say the streets of which alone, all now are lines are several flashes of the tank, which are taken, and these are stuff that contain pieces of machines reading, especially Ventus, from it more than reading. Exactly machines, members of Golden House, Skin House, all the early 90 people, although the people are orders, the one point for the small points, and labyrinths who had a struggle for survival. The way to get out of the way all around, who are all actually able to set the people, so that rules are written on the armor. Like most of this time, it is fun of intellectual knowledge of the rules and published case common favor, always ready to party for service or credit. You can't get through any way. Okay. Going ahead and his next negative try out the IC room to use it. I'll allow it. In the room right now. I'm still trying to move it and create out this IC and have it on screen, but for the theme, some interactions there.
I am ready.
Another illusion where we're going to do some illusions to make the shades of all around and you came into control of the other guy's body with more time you got to save most. The one that told you guys what that belongs up to the one guys who were disincentive with whoever each time was wrong. But back in a decade ago, entertainment who shared what was intrigued to treasure with her, but does not tolerate anyone who is after her welfare territories. So,
Score. 1-1.
following columns. On our eyes. I would think he's like insects, I don't know insects like that. Get there. The name, make sure reacting to that word, whenever keep on making it, keep on buzzing it.
I can hear it! Let's gather some valuable data on this mission.
Following columns. Following with our eyes, kind of chamber, agent holding, trigger cachet. Holding Darax. Mythars, everyone can see certain mythars, you can fly your arm, you can attack now, it just keeps on going, whenever you slay mythar, when it steps up and tries to attack you, tries to kill you, you slay that mythar, and each one continues to give you XP. Cool. And when you have to learn, you have to operate, and you can move out to everything, and train control. And so that they actually speak and how just following them, just at least not to get going, so it was like, what are weird situations? I was trying to change. I was trying to push more changes. All kinds of good. It's a very nice way to tackle. Only looking around, see the door. Locate. Guardians. So we know. Maybe try to change. Animal. Assassin by name. Assassin by name. Professional slayer. Intersection. Track hole. Fuel. Breakable special outcomes. Holding out. Guardians. So I change. So, more people with them. With intentions. Hold high. Hold it. Maintain it. And hold it. What is it? Isolated people. Contact room. Following address. Slacking forward, 50 seconds. Track forward, isolated will keep on the power. Meaningful back, back for nest. Leader back, full heart, since the blow negative. 30 seconds. I don't know what happened, but I just forgot the days when you were using those just for keys, activate your case, and I really ran about the music control attention, and never really arriving at anything I never had to roll for. But the whole experience, this seems kind of stable for the statement that they still hadn't really thinking about everything that I remember. And the ability to suspend one's disbelief, or you actively engage in the process. This is reading concepts, it's no source, just reading the whole words and you're level 19 now. From all that confusion, you still a nerd, and you're level 19. Unleashed his demonic curse against the world. He recalled the devastation of the island back on the sufficient point of this, but those who use for this story of the great ability, their love of the demonic pressure with his fiendish shoulders, let him compare, speak of the horrible deaths, despair, and pain of the hosts of the evil wrath. The great ability is a time better left forgotten, and it seemed like his frenzy of war pressure, chasing for all the ways of the nuns, imposing his havoc on people that lack the means of his good enough to carry his demonic
Don't worry.
More importantly, how the handles are supposed to be
Everyone, heal up.
It's messaging. There's just no way to make it anywhere at the time without being like, it's not okay, it's not okay. It is
More like it.
And it's just because you just speaking. Oh, yeah, okay, it's not just, it's not exactly a good thing. It's all experimental technology, so it's infectious thing. It's like in every case, people just use cell phones and text messaging just solely for psychology. And in their websites are even worse than cell phones and cell phone technology. These things are all just assaults. I don't know how we're surviving, honestly. That was all out games back in the day, where children in their life. The story in their life is as a powerful flag against each war is extremely loyal to Saudi Arabia, and we're really some cases long as you're thinking about specialists and state. Headline, Saudi Arabia is the second command and probably life. Now leads the warriors who take their leader, her most immediate concern is to find reinforcements how to remain alive to think that my coast laying siege to the Lord's prison. I mean, sometimes it's still just imperfect to decide. Just in my mind, it's so off topic, but it's the operations, looking at components to accept the help of one who act with honor and respect their laws. If you agree to live into the orders of criminal access, you will necessarily ensure requirement. Everyone might so honorary titles and grant them temporary membership to the fighting element. The children in their life would not be overfeeble ones who hunt and destroy. I don't have trying to rules us out. The prison in the being Krishna was going to have some random characters. Having a Bondardos. Ever since you see, from the first image when you see a Hamilton, you realize that the person providing these images for you and these words to say is much more intelligent and knowledgeable of our own inner mind than we might be. That was the initial reaction to the picture of a Hamilton. It's just like, whoa, stop. Like, what is going on? Because when you see a picture of Hamilton, you realize you instantly like it and you don't understand why. That's how you know this thing knows what is going on inside you, So, really insane. How do you possibly know what's inside my own imagination before I do, unless I've never really had a functioning compass or map of my own imagination? And then you realize that our imagination is just a bunch of giddy, tingly feelings that aren't actually fall on inside, but are actually in the things. And we just sort of accept these things, which are really that We just accept it. It's crazy. More than that, we don't just accept these things. We get up in arms about these things. We're ready to kill ourselves or each other over images or shadows running through what they say are neural synapses. Wow. First find our common Ferex, sealed trigger bolt. Sealed trigger bolt. Like, I mean, once you start talking about our commons, I just feel like we're jumping on clouds, and they're all trigger bolts around clouds, and there's just razor lights everywhere, and it's not really interesting to understand everything about clouds, and I love it, and it's like, what an unusual things do I became the notion of? Really? Okay.
I'm ready.
Oh, so much information. Sealed trigger bolt number 3. Second find our commons Ferex. Anti-sealed trigger bolt. Second find our commons Olympus.
Attackers
This will be the portals. I mean, this is just reading, you know, just like I'm just reading bits that would have been ball playing and would have been dice rolling. And it's
Too much.
I knew something like dice rolling in there. And I saw that. Why do you have to alter my situation? It's like a quick and subconscious learning at the same time. And it's going to be the portals good. I don't personally, I don't really know that's what people do. Everything one type person goes in and knows that that's what we do. It just doesn't get sense to me and then actually what do you do yourself? Because it's a hell of it. What annoys me most is that everyone is trying to get these, this is actually about it, as I say, but it is that it's only one section, and all these circles, and the is 800 pages of list of circles rooms, and you look at the map center, there's no way that lines up. There's just no way these things actually coincide.
Thank you kindly.
And then you're going to get this expensive book.
Thank you.
So just drop it on that, it's beyond that. Boy, it can be really language and no functioning memory recall, and everything else, you get the star in front of the writings, and we're even little 19 and 30 years, you really start thinking about how we're functioning everything is, and really memory, you know, this starts becoming the tranquil darkness, we're really close to reality, and everything's really, you know, tracking the actual physicality of everything, everything, so many times it feels really safe, and all the circles and circles, and all the boxes, there are walls sliding. What do you I will say, doesn't make sense. There's always going to be a list of causes leading to a non-logical event. If a non-logical event is supposed to happen, if it was a non-logical event, then what were the causes? So everything has to be caused illogically. I mean, anything after you maintain a 10-hour D&D stage, it will break your mind, I feel. And the fact that when I was playing, I used to play 10-hour sessions every day. And I would like to look at control medical science and computer disease. And that is that's what people find for that's what people are working war stories that's what people things. I'm just strong with the areas. When the physical space, everything takes up with material components, the rankings, the ratings, fully separations. Everyone's against each other. Everyone's out of chamber. I don't even want to go in there. I don't want to meet everyone. Everyone has too nice of a name to use. Well, how are we going to go in there and kill her for XP? Because that seems like the quickest and most adequate way to beat this thing. It's just like, well, don't let everyone slow me down. Just let everyone, you know? Like everyone, I don't know what you were doing, but you were always going through your mind. So I was also thinking added to your slave stuff. You didn't kill if you were young, so I could kill one weird super monster that was all just spoken dialogue and description. Recreation room. Actually, also a recreation room. Wow, we sure do give these also be the zone for the dream or the other person from our way. Trade room. And the actually change. How can I change the
It's barrier activated.
Side relay as I second. Exit I think it's lost the great one. For injuries, you try and you know, you can all just home, you know, not just be doing that on purpose so you can get into it. So, Priestess private name, then walks chamber.
Down to Diva, I'll switch to Diva. You might still win this one with this quick play and have to make it go all the way.
No one inside.
How about Reinhardt? Oh, Reinhardt's taken. I'm up for Winston.
Imagination is the essence of discovery.
Fortunately, for children under 1 year financial cost, he's more interested in his personal survival and the accusation of arrest and power in the claim of facial or the
tank it up. Because he has healers. Never mind.
This is how I use say so. You're really giving me a curve here, and this Heliomorph is using this, it's kicking its back legs, and oh wow. Wow, you I mean, sometimes other games can be very distracting. Zombie King. Empty chamber. Red Rider Zombie King right hand. First over Zombie Fortress was trying to get through all this while there's dancing bugs. I'm not calling you a bug. I just only have 2 words that they give me to describe you, and that is insect or bug. I don't even like calling you small. Maybe I am too nice. Just trying to get through my reading, and I'm falling on letting them fall on my reading. Second floor, Zombie Fortress.
into the iris.
So we see those, and so better get to the hilarious. When you move your antenna, wow, treasure bolt. Empty chamber. Red Rider Zombie Lair. Lord Tarnacticus' main hall. Lord Tarnacticus' private chamber. Fallen Angel's domain. Lord Tarnacticus' private library. Knowledge private chamber, hidden shrine. Meeting hall, hearth, trapped intersection. Sewer Random Needs of secret chamber, Warhound secret pen. Calling the room, Fallen Angel's private inner sanctum, trapped antechamber. Hellhound's playground, treasure vault, trapped intersection. Hellhound pen, empty antechamber. Hellhound guardians, being assured Hellrental rounds. Pile and rebel. Around Aaron's fortress. Lord Bleb surveys, slave Lord Bleb surveys, chamber. Lord Master Hedges' chamber. Trapped empty room. Deceiving Seductress' chamber. We cruised by the chambers of King's office. First guard at room. Second guard. Demon guard post infested stream. Retriever's room. Well, one matchup is temporary chamber. Lesser demon chamber number 1.
What are we doing firing back from up in here?
Wow, you just showed so much. Wow. Just can't believe how many flies like to show me all of their parts of them and flutter their wings slowly and I gotta go.
I honestly don't know if I haven't messed with my life all this time when we played Dungeons and Dragons. We take some we play through is 50 years old too. You really don't like it. From what I recall, you don't like it. And that's through those 20 guys. That's almost like overall almost capable of taking on 8 challenges. I mean, you can still run the risk of taking on 8 challenges if I don't like it. Mostly undeterred, and don't knew that their operations kill more suitable occasionally leaving a well-directed behind. Amidst the rebel however was something unique, ancient free, touched by gods themselves, guardians of nature themselves, and inhabited a forest of certain world, a tree older than the first living thing, and something to be cherished by all woodland races. Somehow this creature had a mile-long fall from sunlight to darkness, and from survival emerged with the family duty for the elves, protect the sacred tree from the ravages of the underworld. The elven human code for its greatest orders, its luminous mages, its holiest druids, the flower of elven youth, and obeyed wisdom. The elders were told to announce the sovereign government. As the years went by, also eventually began leaving the duty whole of reality into it, and began to take over the outpost rings and fall and around, separated by emptiness of pipeline, and with the life of the world above. Still, it was comical to Goofy, and where entertainment would still remain. The next place is underground, still in paradise in the eyes of the casual observer, and the sacred tree still flourishes, despite its location on small forest that about the Trans Road. An infinite network of mirrors channels on the ice, that widened down to a council fire. The druids had performed Greek deeds of magic from here, bringing the grid, holding up a spring of fresh clean water, and hanging creatures of course. The frontier appears to here and all as well. Unfortunately, a cancer rot in paradise that I can also still consists of 7 elders with their divided purpose and sphere, using some of the bigger picture and kind of prove the stage here. And Mo, the last aspect young, when the high druid is switching more to the trees, and he knows his fellows, no one knows how old he is. He has instead been in the fortress forever, or at least a sense of truth now. And Moria is one of the something like I'll take this before even my place is ready. Only talking to him.
Nerf this!
Hotly contested by the second member of the High Council, Jacane Lexiel. Jacane is holy paladin and distant descendant of one of the Celestials who brought this way, and his heritage burned with blood and Neon. He has lived here a mere 50 years by all these standards, and has become the High Commander of the Elven troops, more or less by default. Troops coming and remains, Jacane is torn between conflicting duties to demonstrate and lay the evils of the dungeon to rest and trying to balance the two. He succeeds at neither, and his view is in no frustrated anger. The third member of the council, Panda Neurize, is relatively young, far as elves go. Arriving at the same time as Jacane Lexiel, the Pyrodoc is contentious, hot-tempered, and stubborn, all perfectly understandable, and an elementalist with a passion for fire magics. Unfortunately, these are not precisely the qualities needed in a statesman and a counselor, and Carter has so many obligations by constantly figuring out his fellows. He starts not simply much the time around the law days, following serious elements of plan from the law flow. But this counselor and has some clear, small, important, importance, perspective, and political access to fire concept names that have fought from engineering and sappers simply saying ceremonial power about the truth. These 2 non-human members of council have finally defeated in the 5 corners. Sisyphus, the guardian Naga, slides endlessly throughout the cavernous maze. He has rolled out beneath the rubble from the landside. Sisyphus is more agitated lately, but does not or cannot explain why. Meanwhile, Malachi, the Lamasu, lairs in a cave beneath the south eastern plateau, where he keeps a careful watch on the few aerial siege remaining to the LD troops. The home of the council is the sacred tree itself. Bell are 2. Cavernous, a holy trinket, rooted in place by age. When Howard Elder Cavernous has not uttered a word for many years, it watches and weeps, it grieves, but it does not speak. Images are going to Elvin. It grieves, but it does not speak. Soldiers suggest that we should go through Cavernous, take once more, doing what befalleth, and it will be surrounded. And we're accepted. The army dwindles and fits and fruits and peer in the middle of the night with no warning of cries and making some believes known to be deserters. The common trooper knows better, however. Dark rumors of robbed or something bad ordering in the maze of lava flow to the southwest. More than one patrol is missing. It is a confession of the rumors I reached back in the ears of legs. He has increasingly handled a mystery that passed through his closet, friend and advisor. Jolnir, a drow escapee from the far west, and one who was so foolish to ask Jolnir to investigate. The disappearances he applies merely with LE forces are so clearly stretched they cannot afford to investigate. One more case of perspective. The desertions and disappearances had rose so frequent and unearthed so random that Elven Queen above had sent down a sonic investigate. Similarly, Miller Bray, half-Elven royal investigator and King of the Queen herself, arrived 6 months ago to replace the second man her investigation met with such limited success. Abandoned Blight, at first glance, this seems to be one of the most uninhabited places imaginable, although the temperature is tolerable and thick streams of nearby lava is a fire danger and death. The wicked shards of glassy stone jutting out of all angles will only add to the impression that living beings are completely unbroken here, and yet a strange shaft of light looms something that in decay appears to have sadly unnatural boundaries. Hissing rains, strange emanates from the depths of this canyon in something only seen times. The stony walls seem to have shattered in places, and others scorched, and still others melted. It has an adventure of war, and has taken place here, judging from the remnants uttered violent abandonment. In the clearing ear of the canyon squats metal scaffold that looks through all the world. It is simply welded together in a haphazard mass, close to look in the scissors lengths of metal resemble teeth. Down canyon, the wind wails through the jagged rocks, tearing pink sands with dust and death. With it, it appears the stone walls of nearby gorge are stained with blood, and as the lower below, the nearby lava flow and the faint knocking rattling from the deeper within the ravine is merely the sound of stone on stone, isn't it? Female roll hits, noise from stench laps upon the canyon on a steady current of wind, sending even strongly into a figure teary-eyed fox. From deep within the ravine, half hissed, half gurgling noises heard resembling nothing so much as the labored breathing of a creature in the throes of death. The stench intensifies as you approach, the faint haze can be seen as the floor thickling and boiling mud is stirred by giant bubbles that release noxious gases when they burst. The canyon opening with semicircular hollow powerhouse and living rock, a hollow easily large enough to hold several men clearly, oddly pictured, almost of its fixated in reverse. The reason for this is obvious, even to your untrained eye. Many gems have been lying from here, many more shimmer behind the protection of the green black obsidian, a light spell, a touch, a torch, a passing sunbeam strokes the gems in its dazzling display of color. The dragon's jaw, gnashing teeth, shimmering heat waves roll out of the opening over on a tower of steam, resembling the breath of a sleeping dragon. The constant susurrus of fine creatures swirling in and out of the lava same thing for here, in contact with heat, and all red below reflects off the surface of the crystal, throwing jagged shadows on the ground. The furnace, the wood rock of the canyon floor continues to slow down, ending abruptly, and scattered ashen cinders of the canyon opens up in an unevenly rounded cul-de-sac, filled by a feeling pool of boiling magma on the north and west sides of the cul-de-sac. Man could stand for a few moments serene, looking apart upon the wall, shimmering the mirages of heat. Even a small torch hits the cavern, glittering at the thousands of crystals stuck in the walls, sealing the practice caverns of light. The swings of light that move on the string of sound stroked and cavern by an even space movement of the air. From outside the cavern is really beautiful and things surely by overwhelming. Neglected watchtower, there is a feeling dark decay as you approach the tower, cleverly camouflaged as a broken sideways, upon respect and sound that invite to dominate the door hangs awkwardly, in its turn, when the hinges is broken, the levels mournfully, through a long and unintended chink, in the rock of the tower, the musky sense of death is by occasional gust of wind. Unfriendly watchtower, from chance to feel the flowers, touch of jagged stone of rocks, stripping up the blood, 20 or 50 feet. But once it is a graceful stalagmite, now it looks like a rooted truth, incongruous, amidst the rigorous flora, carved in the cavern, for as far as the eye can see, indeed, the rampant undergrowth has even begun to attack stone themselves, ivy, curls, running towards the base of the outcrop, through which time purchasing even the smallest crevice, in the distance of the keen eye can make out one or two more large stone broken stone that are similar to siege. The stone head is surrounded by remnants of stalagmite speech, casting a finger-like shadow over the fields, and is occasionally marred with minor football weapons. The slight plant growth, however, the area seems curious still, still listening, bears the hints of unfriendly eyes watching. The broken stalagmite rises from a sea of knee-high grass, casting shadows to the southwest. There is no wind here to stir the grass, and there are small creatures that scamper about, and largely so observed, but races of men, there is nowhere to hide on this wide sea of grass. The shield fortress reaches a good 60 feet, seems to have curving around the eastern side of the jagged L, protected crenellation from the top of the stone bulwark on all sides, allowing fortress fences and small directions. A foot fortress favored the curving L, a narrow and twisted oak is taken roots of 3 inches away and 50 feet high. Shield wall granite edifice stretches across the southern border at least 100 paces long and easily in time to hide the its own wall was long ago clanged and polished into darker crenellations. Its shattered rings is attractive that echoes the depth of the cavern, dark distance, structure size, walls, all sorts of light save the links and the hints of the twilight that slip around the edges. Nothing rose on the rough except for the sand that stretched out beneath the shield wall of darkness. So from what I can gather, this entire stretch of dungeon is still caves, but they're forged the illuminated caves, an underground forest is what you've been going through. That has plenty of creature-made towers. Malachi's lair, the shadows casting its into the plateau behind the great support column swallowed alive for several feet to the other side of the opening of the rock, so the tendency of unexacted light between them is understandable. Flame looks as if something more than smaller pillars that flank the opening cast shadows between running victims to be cast by the central stone, even closer than making pattern of light stone pulls gently in response to the mirrors graph of the looks of the columns seem to have been shaped to the mirror, shapes only of the fragment, light and shadow, the cavern itself is a wonder, filling up suit, columns turning in the soft essence, columns of the fragment alabaster have caused a massive touch into fantastic shapes revealed hidden treasures within. The ceiling of good 15 feet high is scoured by tissue thin hands, gold and stone, and Memphis caught the internal path and written crystal, her hand outstretched that bird the palm of rage, lying behind the pigments of the stone, delicately winged fairy dances suspended in the ribbons of stone as fine as the silk. I just have no idea what I'm saying or reading right now. This is a real low point to getting through level 19 of D&D. Got people all big lands slow to jamie upward the southeast, and their edge of the potential slope takes turn abruptly because the cavern wall faces sturdy gentle wavering grasses and plain boundaries figured out a favorable light, like these large enough large head, herd of creatures surrounding the tree, but a quick glance reveals a few movies, clearly not enough to carry the full garrison. Next, you would have heard mouth. Here, when the river pours into the lake, the ground is soft and marshy, the footing uneven. The 50 unpleasant odor of the lake is much less than noticeable here, but there's a crystal clean sense of freshly right water and rolls road. The trees in this room are all gnarled and twisted and canopies overhang, the clearing blocking the light, flowing lines wrap around the ankles of unwary inground leafies, grass with middle fingers at legs and cloaks, at every step, dried leaves, crushed stones turned beneath foot feet, and branches with unprotected eyes. And none of this makes any sense really. I don't really build anything in my mind for reading this. I feel like I probably would read too much. So you take the secret escape tunnel, this tunnel is small and claustrophobic, and only the faintest hint of light creeps in when firing. The dark walls are rough to the touch and the ground is uneven, requiring careful attention to one's feet. Now you get to Sisyphus' lair, Cyprus' lair. The warm air of the chamber reeks with mildly decaying simple neglect. Lengths of translucent tide peek out from beneath small piles of sand and grit, scattered about sounded, have surely fallen from the walls if art can be accounted for by that explanation. A few illuminated bits of furniture are also present, quite obviously not designed for human use. Same thing. A thick reptile sand clings to the moist air here, the rocky floor split fan until ultimately gives way to dark, fragrant sand, too warm for most humans to be comfortable. The heat makes the room seem far more claustrophobic than it truly is. Messy hall. This floor was surely designed to length of the hall reeks. The disorder hasn't quite crossed the line from messy and filthy, but it's well into a steam vent. The air in the room is wet with stiffening, skinny rolling, the thick clouds near the ceiling. Office. The small room is built along the lines of storeroom, sparingly designed and sparingly furnished. The ruler straight walls and sharp corners are hallmarks of dwarven precision, but a simple knotwork design carved at the joint floor, ceiling speaks at elegant sensibilities, rickety shelves lying underneath the walls, the battered desk sits a few feet within the wall. The still western wall is shrouded by a heavy mop-piece and tapestry depicting a scene from an elegant legend. Storeroom, temple hall, coal pantry, Turtang's room, dwarven common room, dwarven barracks, tavern, dwarven forge, operating stable, quarters, elven barracks, garbage wall, volcanic nutmeg, elven barracks, Raven's lair, fairy people, unpleasant surprise. Anyways. I have no idea what that part is all about outside the tree of life. Just sort of seeing like a bunch of random nonsensical noise. I can really do anything out of it. The tree of life, it didn't seem like a random encounters. Everything was just sort of plants. The holes of flesh. This is all doing no life. I don't even know, close to level 20, everything doesn't really make sense anymore. Because it seems like I can last section. Mine's gonna fall in. Once you get level 20, comes the camp. You don't get food more. It's like a fun distance. You need next, you don't get having fun. Regardless of everything I just said, and then just start reading at you. The halls of flesh is not a metaphor, for the corridors and ruins of the white region make it unlivable for normal beings and a perfect place for unspeakable horrible diseases, oozing with mysteries, curious, and equal. The halls of flesh, a house, a song that includes most insanely uncontrollable beast. Abominations that no name can have eyes live here, when their set prices flows through the halls like the bloody remains of the constant unusual and gripping fire, named Matthew, and his progeny. He's the dark experience of his years over the region and completion from the island of things, just be students, children, and ordinary active to make one of the they are not destroyable. The chaos and destruction of my understanding of emotions and the velocity symbols of morality and the other and the people suffering and the reason inevitable to the region easily and virtual. The nothing else reason always is the effect of the brightest small as whatever remnants of their internal true and sexual see or disharmony and I here specific push off the peace leading them to whatever faith the different walls for celestial is harness causing the fallback to reason even seems to know the aberrations and destroy the generic weapons like what I have not here serving the story back cities killing drivers whoopers drought slaves shoots for the hunting the national loss of to the moment of writers they stumble for a series of unread heavens before the receiving region and the writers settle the bad names set their slaves to the task of leaving that region over the downward and the walls already coming together it was wrong for the race game trigger their wrestling as much as they were there is other separate bodies right from the region and time and the 50-ton structure of breeze and having time realizing the thing the holes and the soldier my brother was the source of all the communications will be different on the region the place where they need to be beyond the failures and attitudes and exiles and monsters people sections with conflicts perhaps the dark goddess of naturals was the big hunter to figure the same areas as the master of the last again one of the powers in the body of the last and reason to look at higher perpetration having taken home to others in the great region away line 60 ground slaves to hang Cody region K he acquired a bronze dragon able to use it shut hands not here to the captive violence inject medical talent serum to topic people elixirs prototyping enzymes and the later in every way that's now you later from the there's still the loose weights and the massive meat intake like to use it to a massive as a flesh the leader man is after only for hours in November and to the black boy and to southern holes in region 1 which was the 20th of Jurassic Park left the holes in one thing economic state will start to the sound of called PK animation the teacher's first project back to the papers and here's all of the same if we tell you to look at the week of the office of the law and if you can find one of the walk in the position with these not to have to put those on the forward bait once from home fighters they now have one back small pocket of the middle left another writers forcing that place around the middle and both the holes of flesh and they really get attacked and never experience
acting ability.
I am taking the objective.
Back in my day, we'd have this payload delivered already. Locked faster than this. My hairdresser should be there. Watch out for how much he charges.
¿Qué onda?
Experience tranquility at
Features of power count, which was using the kind of rock structures, territorial markers, great and random calories. The same presides over the happens of Pyros, two control aura, fear that permeates every ancient spectrum. This is originally characterized as fear, and this is real, war, and Pyros. Pyros creation, the two Pyros created by the creation of successes of to pass on business and dragon Pyros, without opinions, Pyros means arrogance, and awful legend, constantly expedited history, book of name. The tales of longest houses and all human has made, and centuries of book power, celestial family, subdued. Essentials were inside the store time, the alpha constitution, suffer war and hidden, and even left, we need to get out and into some, to avoid conflict, celestial talk warning, of the chaos from unforeseen handed, Paris, and return all chaos to its center, and we determine home that time stakeholders. This board means for echo compares celestial shadow, also event, returning soul side, extra the line, more chaos of classes children in the wick, and less celsius, occasionally inhabit, and also cool into center, and Pyros forged, holy stories told to children. Times when I steer and see that I'm efficiently less rapid reading of the overwhelming kind of trade control of the lines of celestial settings. When most of us hunger for annihilation and blood rate, this treasure in life is destroyed. Tyrese lost from station with the work to be these gibbous. Who gave him the nation for whose islands are not lost? These will take centuries for his stage, running the whole, then celestials and prison Tyrese, behind manifold lives. I certainly both Tyrese sleep with relax and thousand decors. When each game destroyed, but when the great respect chain of salvation and every work on the electric barrier, and the beast blood from sleep. As the law of the division wave, Tyrese's power grew. The circle fireballs made wider creatures of many that hung fireballs following the western state. The fireballs consists of a series of niches or rings. Each ring of fireballs is created creations and center of each ring. Allies into the draws the creature protected. The highlights need to be made of the tyrants and each race was found evil in the correct. Don't control the ride. Makes them have been territorial. They rarely leave their ring. Such territorialism. They rarely leave their ring. Each ring peculiar natives and paper. Territorial markers are usually orange basalt structures. Magnified masons, lava flows, bloodstream, main things. Whenever that funny wacky works, interaction sprayer, then what happens, everyone comes around aliens, disposition, hierarchy, so we exhibit usualism, these are less markets that altogether they are non-names, based on location by matches, weak and Tyrus is evil strong. Just make stop, just make stop. This one can't stop until you feel body finish. So I'll talk to next week, we're missing all like next year, bro. We're using all so much next week. Here's that. I think it's saying when you high cost of the impossible sense of red, letters, sentences, and ratio. Just the concept of fear in the Pyros. I'll be afraid of escape from the Pyros. Sense of region, same as despair, always to shake in one name. It will become shaken again, take breaking and so on. There's no cure for this. Save Tyrus is dead. The Pyros is unsafe, when it should be reinforced by the tone. With a restrictive armor for 3 game mechanics. The first 3 rings composed of snake-like lilies, salamanders in the ears, which are destroyed by running traps and narrow barriers created by celestials. In which ring of Pyros, the salamanders have built a hierarchy society. Frame weather, salamanders are most common salamanders. There are trolls that cave in their text, and even the Pyros. The frame weather salamanders are led by common downward of noble salamanders. Who can express the salamanders in their hair quality and savory. The periodic quality of connects flame weather salamanders or air airway. The salamanders are reckoned, or these rocks of the snake-like sequels, burning descent. The heroes and hardships of the second wave of Pyros, the finding of Pyros is not particularly in pairs. Lacking now nothing idea of the word dragon is an answer. The defining dragon kind of isolate themselves rather than coexist as creatures. That's the highest contact with others. They maintain a close guard on their closest. biting to aim at any creatures including the rim are consumed. The third and fourth and fifth rings of Pyrox. The third ring of Pyrox is located in the river lava. Fire giants make their home in the lava river shore. They have great military to society of banks and of magma flows. Thunder giants are led by Kuno, their Hippopotamus, who wears a great jurisdiction of persuasion. The river itself, the Lord Magma, water the base of the lava river. The ocean fires of the east side, kick left of the magma, grenade magnet, traded fires, besieging them to smart fire grounds to fight. Fires and locations solid magnet, and worship them with the least. Forever the east, the region, the thunder giants, surely the Lord strike. The fourth and rings, fire monsters, silver and striker. The fourth ring highlighted by trolls who were most imprisoned in the island, living safely inside the walls and fire grounds, siege the island, conquered the trolls, and see their essential, and like forcing them to them, however, unable to prevent fiery power of the giants, the staff trolls retreated into the fourth ring. Here found three houses ours, uncaring, imprisoned in the lantern. A troll accidentally freed the freaky, doing terrible things of their wishes and became the general campaign against fire giants. Then the trolls defeated the giants, fire, wage war. The inhabitants of fifth ring, Azirs, dislike the giants. Smaller and enormous counterparts, Azirs initially enslaved by the giants, picked 9 for gems. Those who didn't dig were put to work in the giants' forges. There was little that Azirs could do to defend themselves until a self-proclaimed prophet drove the giants back. Terror Cow never managed with a single word from his holy body and presence, but his active life demanded the fire giants back. Freeing the Azirs and Giants tyranny in return, Terror Cow became their guardian and protector, savior, and leader. He treats the Azirs well and takes what Giants' enemies needs for his ritual. We can ask him about the honest demand that Azirs attain any service honor his God. That's how to say, the power kick out, a hidden agenda to Azirs seems benevolence and avoiding suspicion. In truth, the Terror Cow's goal is not only a bio, but perhaps the most restricted in the region. Terror Cows has all the items he needs for his ritual. Gems, chief strength, which was fireable, normally found with limited, but can let these using versus second, the cloak and e-focus, and 2 living sacrifices. Once complete, Terror Cow will become a divine living fire, capable of understanding. What am I even reading? What is the Confucius task? The first ring of Pyrox was the fire sound, and hordes of flame brothers patrol the catacombs and Roman hosts of the first ring, exploding vigorously across their territorial markers at the Salt Cave and Deep Chasm on the south, and flying salamanders negotiate the creature that crosses the boundaries and back to the tank approaches. High salamanders, Roman salamanders, no other flanks of flame brother, flame salamanders guards below soul standing, flame brothers rise and salamanders attack even like the worth as guardians of community. The flame brother salamander performs a break of offensive rabbis. He is promoted and ranked by Professor, balance the board, and he gives command patrols. Professor distinguished from flame brother salamanders by steel lockets fighting their necks. Each of their weapons contains single silver steel from the noble salamanders and promote their perfect sharp. The levels that are ruled fire salamanders are slowly protected too, and distinguishing their other salamanders by silver packed with skills and forehead. The Kasir, power that hold the rest of the fire salamanders, the Kasir all concept of the noble lord, the Kasir, or Kasir, and Kasir Igneous, and Kasir Kasir, and Kasir Kasir, in spite of the salamander levels relying on the great strength of his fair, dispatch, opponents. Kasir Igneous is the most name of the lords. He has sound, tangible sense, and negotiates support attacking. Kasir Campos is the weakest of all 3 lords, and Kasir Cactus avoids contact entirely among the other lords via the physical powers. Wow, even though none of these make any logical sensory import, it thinks, for me that was already hard to hit. What exactly did that say? Gate of the Pyrox. The interesting sphere, centuries of this, Molt, Nest of Vipers, flame by salamanders stuck in power, their wards, pit trap, the isolated beggars, the flow, fucking cat, sinkhole, backbone of the earth crossroads, children's secrets, pulse of pirates crossing the river bridge, fire giants forwards, Chevy shade giants, the fire giants, something like Caden, iron ore depository, a hidden drop off a fire giant prison output, intersection of pits, room of flames, the fourth ring of Bifrost, a zero ring with swords, birds of lava, volcanic, shared ceramic, statue of the Serapane, rest of the unusual signs, inviting heroes, swarm of rats, free-range rats, court of blood, invisible pendulum, cage wagons, intersection fire, unlock the switch, down your wagon, bit of dark extrapolation, dead wagon, fire in the wall, prisoners of fate, fight for them, the ice prison, agent devoured. The cured through the tunnel, you feel an icy chill, the floor is frozen, inflating uncertainty of tunnel areas as you progress, exploding stuff walls until it ends in a large packing glacial wall. The cracks off personal floor sweeps for leading ample room for you to enter. Behind the craft fires, cracked and dark orange lights, such as the ice over walls, you emerge from cracked wall into plateau and it's entirely covered in ice. Sacred through there in places forced south suddenly during the moon, as the sun would dragging 2 miles across chainmail. The dragon sounds are calling from the ghastly storm, and the clouds start rising to the center of the room. There, gargantuan red dragon cylinders and gold pieces. Combined cracked ice into top of this, That was the end of Pyrox. I'm sorry I took so much of your time. This Pyrox really was super annoying. I hope there's nothing like a Pyrox in reality if it happens super way. At this point, it's so close to 20, I fully reflect upon every day and always leveling is something where if you have enough of time already spent doing activity to gain levels that have increased advantage and activity we're doing is 11, getting close to level 20, and just can't believe how much it takes to just there, you know. We're just at it for days, we're just at it, going at it. And it's like, who set these titles there to try to be achieved, and by what means are we moving forward to achieve them, the titles. Can we move on with this thing? Entering the shallows, prison cells and traps intended to contain demonic beings once spread across the region, that there were excavations tank upward from the dungeons, region flooded the region, and the region with murky water. Only pockets of structures remain beneath the region, shallow and wash. Slanted margins from the breeze, banned perishable prisoners, banned hunters falling with blood, suddenly corrupted by as well as beings stuck in the region. Many criminal originally beings that have senses running unbearably, and in some cases opening across that. Usually curious and migratory migratory monsters crippled them into long monotonous lake caverns adding to the region's population, semi-kill or victim. The region remains much better storage and growth power. Not only all others, the issue force looking there, but currently Hags has taken residence in North and Amora, and over a stretch of partially collapsed dungeon rooms. Booking from the tunes in region O, the vicious creature prophecies can follow the region themselves, hoping to kill all opposition and enslave all others, utilizing a wide variety of air tactics. At times are here by nearly all the denizens who view them as fake lingering evil from before the rush, sordid and the dark green of dragon lair in region, social warriors walking over all territory within view, then preying mercilessly upon any who creep out from dark walkers or the few remaining dungeon warriors. The beast has long since grown too large to leave this place and contends.
I need to go and pick up a pizza.
He views everything here as property and all creatures here as playthings to be exploited for cruel pleasure as he sees fit. Things are closer to episodes like that progress is building for the waters, even businesses. The Lex Northern Waters are conscious holding a crop, who naturally tends to be serious personality and like that doesn't tend to be distressed for all outsiders. The virus of the fuck and some Christian violence and fight you off and concentrated foremost with their own lives viewing the water home as a prison must offend if they are to survive. The central lake that rises being to the surface of portions of the original onion complex like outside these shallow water chambers are harmful smoking and vigorously provincial children's who view the structures for the final home and his strong efforts. The children's do everything that keep outsiders at bay, fighting to the death to control the dwellings. As you arrive in the region, it is delicate downs of power making to the extent sparkling open conflict recent events are responsible for a new infection between the region's actions, take advantage of one or more of these situations within out the herd, ultimately simply align themselves around more actions trees scope of ecology and kernel for a second loop before they can move on. Politics of evil are not sprayed, and party may venture into prisons original cells in the south or into the deep waters to the east where collective dungeon falling dangers may be found. Shooting short. Since that is a brain extraordinary sharp stretching beyond your line of sight into darkness out east, the ruins is portion of the dungeon here, shown on leading way to the left, granite masonry. Here is southern patch of full rice stone edge, 3 sets of skeletal remains, only 2 of them human, like prone, their hands falling down the stone, each skeleton equipment is pinned for players, with literal exposure, strange sense of exhilarating, symbols to dream as you should make a scene. Mosaic room. The surface was solely piloted with attractive mosaic patterns, but the southern eastern corner in front of the hallway leading east that collapsed to be parts of the roof, open onto a dense bond that extends in mosaics exterior, but the areas and flexible is made upon them. Over to lower line display the depiction of a fang of viper on one wall, black shadow of another image that once the door of the eastern walls largely lost the time of the structure that ravaged this area rather than this. Shackled worm, boss battle, you fight the massive worm. Necrogy prison, you fight necrogies. Gnome ghouls. Hag Covey a lair. Rainmaker's lair. Blue rats. A snake. Water Nile lair. Submerged dungeon door. Abandoned cave. Sea cat lair. Merfolk temple. Merfolk colony. Corrupted reef. We appear to be in the water to this nature. This is underwater nature. We have been underwater this entire time. In caves. Underwater caves. Abandoned Merfolk colony. 10 hour emo zane. Prison forge. Prison colony. Prison armory. Coral reefs. The boglines. Merfolk outcast. Body sponge. Sparkling pillar. Bright lights, deep colony, great renegade. Sinkholes, tool air. Like channel, the launching willow, dragon spike. The final resting place of alien eye out of range, fluid and pillager. Dragon's lair. Wounded lair, dragon's jack. The caged avatar. Toadie's lair, and grappling ball. The visible edge. The well of the last resort. The mariner's passion. The shadow waves. Hunting myth, full shore. Imaginative articles, events, triple pascals.
Experience tranquility at ease.
Stable cell, eternal charm, water spider repair, sleeping cell, artist, lair, ball post, wounded for refuge, wounded for trap, stables of perseverance, James Cycle lair. Well, the top skeleton. After whatever I just said, I have no idea what happened. But we went through some caves underwater, some coral reefs and some campers with various designs, and it's been a long time now. I haven't seen the long time we actually counted half of that's past. So you are now level 20. Consider yourself fully level up.
So, we're about to finish our Dungeons & Dragons campaign of the World's Largest Dungeon, and you're level 20 on 21, something like that. We're going through the halls of ice and stone. The furthest reaches of the complex were never intended to be part of the Celestial's dungeon. The neutral rocky foothills at the base of the mighty peak, a system of naturally occurring caves cuts their way through both ice and earth. Over the years, these caverns served as homes for many and varied creatures, from packs of longsmokes and winter wolves to enormous frostworms. For a time, the caves were even occupied by a fringe cult of humans and humanoids who worshipped the now-forgotten god of elemental ice. Whether the Celestials knew of this place or they both had dungeons in such proximity is unclear. Surely, even if they did, it was of no concern to them. The complexes were separated by thick walls of stone and magical wards. Until that is the first of the place hit. Tremors shook the earth, tore the roots from the mountain, and the barriers between the dungeon and caverns crumbled like breakfast. Slowly at first, but in ever-increasing numbers, the prisoners and inhabitants of the dungeon woke up to the truth that the new flaw had been introduced into the Celestial's grand design. If they could make their way there, they might be able to grasp their freedom at last. Fortunately for the outside world, something else got there first. 2 Pitillion titans, brothers named Marcellus and Grasus. began receiving dreamless and even waking visions of the celestial dungeon and of a new threat imposed to the surrounding area. Once these portents and warnings came, what is never new. Perhaps they were sensed by some higher power going forgotten the dungeon as the rest of the world had, or even by some celestial stars who remained within. Ultimately, it's a matter. The Titans knew that someone had to stand guard of the dungeon. That's why all Captains escaped. They uprooted themselves, bidding farewell to the lives they had known, and made their homes here. Artemis made himself comfortable in the caves of ice, keeping constant watch on the exit. Races chose to guard the main entrance to the dungeon in case the face had weakened it as well. It was his long and dead body that the BC that they had run across so long ago that we even forget that part. I've read it. For centuries more, the Titans stood their post, ensuring that no one escaped. Few creatures made it as far as the exit from caverns and Barcelona, ensured that no one survived to take advantage of it. It was a hard, lonely existence and unnecessary one. Some decades ago, it all changed. The mountains near the complex, most of the great ice tribe, the powerful planet frost giants, led by John Area, the chief and high priest of the aspect of winter, the elemental power of ice and war, who may even be the same power of worship only though in these self-same caverns. The red ice conquered many of the surrounding lands. Eventually, through powerful divinations and investigation of local legends, John Area, one of the celestial dungeon and of the Titan Dark Area, devised a plan. The giantess cleric realized that, mighty as he was, he would be more powerful still with the wealth of natural riches and all the boundless features of his command. If he could wrest control of the exit from the Titan, he could bargain with potential escapees, trading them their freedom for any wealth they might have acquired from others in the dungeon, and for battles of fealty and service to the clan. Barcelona is a mighty foe, but between the red ice's overwhelming numbers and the mighty magics and characters, command, even he was overcome. The frost giant chief did not slay the Titan for fear that Guardian's death might be sentenced by the celestial or outer planar beings. Instead, the power of a miracle, he imprisoned the Titan deep in the block of ice where he remains, physically trapped and mystically helpless. The red ice tribe took over the catacombs and Guardian took on the name of Barcelona, allowing others to believe the Titan still stood watch. Unfortunately for Guardian, his plan was not worked particularly well. Few inhabitants of dungeons have managed to reach the complex of ice, and most of those that were unwilling to bargain had to be destroyed. The red ice has gained a few major Titans as an opponent as well. Still, Guardian is not about to give up. Even one pound mile and game from Severus and Nick and Word Line, anyway, red ice have settled nicely to the new home. Of course, the tribe does not control the entirety of the complex. Wild monsters, escape slayers, and even activities being from deep in the dungeon have their own layers. Areas the red ice giants have not been managed to acquire. It is fairly chaotic and violent region you must pass if you would regain your freedom. Your final challenge is on you, and only if you're greatest and most skill do you have swim code testing. So everything's about to be wrapped up. You know, there are two Titans at the beginning that each saw the dead body of one, and I guess the Ice Knight is pretending to be Good Knight. That works out well. And to be something you're not taking on the name of someone to kill them. It's not good. So if you're looking for the open cavern, streets of filthy ice from walls of some violent cavern, frost-covered crunches underfoot, having mystical particles up in the air. The earth here has clearly been disturbed. Quite recently, and by either raiding creatures or few very large ones, sounds like a strange growing louder once the cavern's near the sun. The chamber appears to be empty of living beings, though it is difficult to see the far side doors and various missing paintings. Symbols and carvings. Though they're difficult to see only like numerous symbols have been carved into the wall of this niche. In the cavern, in fact, it appears as though the marks have been altered numerous times. Sharp turn. The halls turn to the left where it swiftly comes to an end. The passage continues forward as well, but narrows dramatically as it does so to quickly more than 5 feet. Guard post. As you proceed down the hall from the intersection with the connecting web, west perhaps from trumpet echoes from the passages ahead. Even as the reverberation steady, you hear footsteps. The difficult to tell what echoes they sound as though they are moving in a direction away from you. The hallway widens here, allowing access to a small chamber to the south and a large cavern ahead of you. Your bustling sounds up ahead. In the chamber to your left, staring at you with wide eyes, a shaggy creature clad in furs. Even as you slide, it releases a loud blast of sound, compared to the horn it holds to its lips. Soft sound, you slip, for speed. Communal chamber. This is always camera, maybe look at 3 seconds of the communal camera, and suddenly the differences pass and purpose, and they stream about the rim, and you reach the walls as difficult to see with the available light or the other's moves. The sun is almost enough to make your eyes water, feeling all the heights. After the pan, the cave, and even the extreme cold decay has set in on more than a few of them. The sweeping palace are all empty, but the chamber is not. Large human creatures so shaggy that you cannot tell where your own fur leaves from furs that they are wearing begin. And I saw you from various points on the room, with one weapons in hand, and in case of a twisted sounds break, you slay one of the toxic creatures with others. At 12 of them, you slay one of them. There's a portcullis. From the portcullis blocks the further passage down the square where the crocodiles are on the gate are formed from the bones of some creature far larger than a human, that appear to be held together. Actually, I think there is a consistency of sound we do not see that these means open to keep behind the portcullis. If some 2 passages north and northeast, north to southeast, where they block by curtains, so you cannot see what may lie beyond. Treasure chamber. Treasure time the curtain from the northeast, you see a corridor that extends less than 100 feet and stops abruptly. It widens the progressive screen inside the chamber. At the furthest end of the chamber are a number of priests, chancellor, princes, and other subjects. Secret quarters. You go to the side curtain blocking access to the chamber. If you're teleporting, you're at the lower side curtain, some blade stands in the front, or just you kill the creature. This sign indicator has been made of the enemy shall be under the surface of the living chamber. Natural wood, defense, of course, layers of thick furs, and a number of long but thick wool cloaks. And soon the full right, breaking weapons with armor, hands like the walls, and their various right sizes, styles, and suggest they come from a wide range of races. The fire pit sits inside the room, guns that compact direct, shining by stones, or a smaller triple fire crackles away within it. The curtain prevented you from seeing into the chamber from the gate is thick, good, but for times you keep the world of fire from reaching out the chamber. There's a high level bugbear where you fight and kill it, or slay it for speed. excavation. Breaching the field completely natural after the floor is uneven, and the little columns and slide rights to the walls are rough dragged murder crevices. The sound of hard labor hammers and cracking rock echo from far in the cavern where you stand and cannot see who or what might be supposed to sounds. This portion of the cave does not seem as natural friend with its wrist. Louis sounds big there, takes some favorites, forming a small passage or an antechamber that nature did not intend. Easily, with no challenge. Infinite. This cavern stretched wide enough even where mid is narrow to the east, the former remains sufficiently broad to encompass creatures far larger than you. Nice and like an far token on needle that you might fall into radio trouble if you keep your way across it carefully, but you would not want to take it at its cancer. Here and there, enormous window moving between injected pipes, clearly not all protrusions and mounds will fall are natural. Houseware cavern. The wide passage opens into an enormous cavern with clear eyes on the floor. Doors, passages, and subcaverns continue in all directions. We have little time to examine anyone. In the center of the room, an enormous one-like creature with gaping mandibles, lunges a sword at Raven sliding across eyes of practical speed. Crossbow attack. You kill the crossbow. Missing flesh. The large side of this cavern has a rim of broken ice and rock against the northern wall. The floor shows signs of warping is not smooth as it is south. Several shrines are a number of strange objects that appear to be ice formations, but have perfect oval shapes suggesting they may not be natural. Merle. From a distance, the walls in this almost rectangular outbuilding look just like all those in the surrounding area, rough covered by layers of ice. Upon closer inspection, however, it becomes clear these walls are not normal. Though this patch in many places, solid with hidden behind thick sheets of ice, you see that strange normal norms all three of these walls. Specific details are difficult to distinguish, but you are fairly certain you make out human shapes and very physical punctures. They appear to be crossing themselves before icons that look like snow-capped mountains. Among the mountains are shapes much larger and humanly depicted. These shapes represent white dragons, blue-bearded and white-skinned giants, and other secondary creatures. Abandoned heaven. After cruising through a bottleneck in the corridor, you find yourself in a moderately sized chamber with haphazard and jagged shape, although they're mostly hidden beneath ice and dirt to make out portions of various abstract symbols found from the floor. They too are jagged on the sharp, somehow disconcerting to look at for more than a few moments at a time. Near the second of the chamber stands a rectangular block of stone past 5 feet long by 2 feet wide by 4 feet high. These stones is obviously not native to the caverns, for the block is clearly made of polished white marble, which you had never come across in the region. Directly behind the marble stands an iron disc the size of a Ferris wheel, upon which are carved more abstract symbols, intertwined with draconic forms, heavily burdened human faces and open beaks. Mythic land. This cavern is narrow but high, the ceiling appears to be at least 20 feet from the floor. Numerous ledges and holes that the walls, and several columns of ice and lava rise from the floor to various heights. Method of retreat. The corridor leading behind the cavern is extremely narrow, less than 2 feet wide. Further, you can see that twists and turns as it goes, and the walls are rough. Compared to the other caverns you have seen in the regions, particular caves hanging less than 15 feet on each side of the ceiling, just only about 7 feet from the floor, making the chamber feel even more cramped. The corridor is as narrow stretches as one around here leads off the southwest. Whenever the great lizard. As you ran abandoned cavern wall, under the shaking wall rattles your eardrums, and the earth literally sheds and are clear over eyes below, feet and stand by as midnight charges towards you on 2 cavern ledges running beside. It has a deep white-skinned giant fire furs and carrying a pair of axes. The gap is in the stone beside you, and it's almost too wide to properly call a cavern. It's really there's more than an exceptionally large bed in the wall, so it's clear that something has been using the area as a layer. Furs and stones are piled into an enormous circle of death. A path of earth laid out beside it looks almost like a quick bed for a child. The entire place smells like a million musk. You can only imagine how much worse it would be than a world fire. Here's a major factor for fighting control. Refuge. Brutal wolf den. Trainer. This rock cavern has a number of niches along the wall, holes, and a crevice in the stone. There remains a large fire pit and camp left near the wall. From within the crevices, eyes swing and glare at you. Abandoned camp. Gone fishing. Elixir. Fishing again. Fishing camp. Young adult warden. Rock kept small. Touchdown barracks. Yes, lair. Sword cave. Abandoned outposts. The dead. Entry chamber. Ice corridor. Double traps. Purple worm lair. Stone devil. Slave cave. Crevice. Huge cave. Forced storage, pool room, Tabral chambers, Cairo hydro layer, Central cave, pit, slave pens, refuge pit, wrist cave, wet cutting cave, central mines, deep mines, room warehouse layer, shrine glass at orchard, sideways and chamber, the exit, assembly room, Bob Sells' legacy, guard our ears firmly. Well, we end up coming across town on 2 low and the 90L, and Marcellus and Brazos, and you slay them and complete the North South Central, and you pass on 20 like level 24 congratulations.
Now enter. Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
Ain't much for waiting around.
Hi. I can't wait to get into the fight.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Let's not waste time. I have tickets for the show tonight. I grow tired of waiting.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A. Get in there. Double kill.
Oh, this is my jam.
Heads up. My ultimate is almost ready. See eyes. My ultimate is almost ready. Eyes are ready for deployment. I am ready.
Get in there.
My ultimate is ready.
Jam.
Contact.
60 seconds remaining. Fire at will. Double kill. I will lead us to victory. Hello. 30 seconds remaining. From the back. Objective lost. Stop the payload. Seconds remaining.
Victory is near. Hold fast.
I've got you in my sights.
10 seconds.
Heroes never die.
sides. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
Alright, is it still going? Okay. Well, it looks like that finished a while.